If you've ever sold premium on NVDA earnings, just like Anne-Marie told you to, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. And indeed, if you followed Anne-Marie's trade, you were profitable on NVIDIA here today, as it sure looks like the premium sellers won that print yet again. We are back to clean it all up. It is Thursday, February 26th, where we piece through some of the earnings from last night, figure out where the market is going. Actually, looks like we're doing all right here today. Unchanged, but up off the lows. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday edition for February 26th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your hump day. And if you played NVIDIA, may your portfolio be green here this morning on all of that. Thankfully, we brought Anne-Marie on to give you a trade that ended up working. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. That's kind of embarrassing, actually. Good to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Richard Judge is first here yet again. Judge, how's the snow in New York? Are you, is it melting yet? Hopefully all is well with you. Francis, good morning. It's great to see you again. Yes, that girl, good morning. It's great to see you again as well. Peter, good morning. Good as always. Big Dave, good morning. It does look like a flat open. I'll be honest, though, earlier this morning actually looked like we were going to be looking at some red arrows. We've come up off those lows. Let's see if we sell that opening print or if we continue to trade higher here. We are a stone's throw from 700 on the SPY. We'll take a look at that SPY chart here in a sec. Corey, it's good to see you as always. Astro Kev, likewise. We can take a look at Ionic here today. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Jim, good morning. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Brian, good morning. Brian, you were close. You were close. You were close, but we have to shout out Anne-Marie when she literally hands out money to the group. So that's what we did. Kenneth, good morning. Welcome back. Producer, good morning. Thanks for all the assists that you give on a regular basis. Who else we got? Best Life, let's go. Nice smiling sunshine face. That's this type of energy we need. Good morning, welcome back. Lost Penny, good morning, welcome back. Kenzo, good morning, welcome back. Kendall doesn't even say good morning. What's the best AI tool for stocks? Well, personally, first of all, good morning. Second of all, I think probably of the generic AI tools, I'd probably say it's a tie between Claude and Perplexity. Also, shout out to the Winston AI that is included in Benzinga Pro, as it has already had its persona set for being a financial advisor and connects to the Benzinga API, so you're able to get a lot of that information out there. So I would say for the generic ones, Perplexity and Claude, and I would say that those are probably tied, whichever one you prefer. And don't sleep on Benzinga's Winston AI in the Benzinga Pro platform. Good morning, welcome. James, good morning, welcome back. It's good to see you. Let's go. Whisk, good morning. Yeah, so fine. Good morning. Marionetta, good morning. It's good to have you back. Dara, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Durkus, good morning. Nice to see you again. JJ, welcome back. Tyler, welcome back. Kimosabi, I love that handle so much. Welcome back. That's good to see you. Brandy, it's good as always. Welcome back. Unmuck, good morning. Oh, that's right. You're from Singapore, right? And it's the evening there. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we're able to wrap up your day in a positive way. Cam, good morning. Animal, good morning. Hi from Bosnia. Boy, we got the international audience flowing here. I absolutely love it. Welcome. Hopefully you have a good day as well. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Smita, it's good to see you as always. And Yassine, good morning and welcome back. We're in for another day here. Should be fun. Let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. Futures mixed and flattish here on Thursday morning post NVIDIA earnings. S&P futures up 0.03%, and these are up off the morning lows. Dow futures up 0.17%. They're actually leading the way higher today so far. And the NASDAQ slightly negative, down 0.07%. So all of these pretty near flat. but at least pointing to an open. The NASDAQ recently moved down. It looks like NVIDIA is still figuring out what price it wants to have in the pre-market here, and that is no doubt leading to it. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session. Information, technology, and financial stocks closed the session higher on Wednesday, though most S&P 500 sectors ended negatively, with consumer staples, real estate, and industrials each ending lower. What's interesting about that is that the information technology actually traded up into the NVIDIA print. And one of the things that we've seen is that stocks that trade up into their print actually have more of a propensity to trade back down. Nonetheless, U.S. stock futures were swinging between gains and losses on Thursday after advancing on Wednesday. Futures of the major benchmark indices were mixed and indeed are still mixed. Turning to the upcoming economic releases, market participants will evaluate the report on weekly unemployment claims that is scheduled for today. This will be followed by the publication of January's producer price index data tomorrow. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.05%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.47%. We're really kind of hanging out in the same area here with not a whole lot of change. And the same is true for the CME Fed's watch tool. We've actually priced in a 98% likelihood that the Fed holds interest rates unchanged at their next meeting in March. This is what we've anticipated since before the last meeting, frankly. So nice to see that that is continuing here, and our predictions were correct and in line. Now, we have several stocks in focus here for you today. You didn't think NVIDIA was not going to be on this list, did you? Of course, NVIDIA is the first stock on this list, and it was up 1.28% after reporting better than expected fourth quarter financial results and issuing first quarter sales guidance above estimates. We're going to dive into this report, but the headline numbers for this report are as follows. The Q4 adjusted EPS of 162 beat the 153 estimate, and the sales of 68.127 billion beat the estimate of 66.003 billion. We had said going into this print that we expected a good number, and indeed, that's what we got. They also saw Q1 sales of 76.44 billion to 79.56 billion. That was versus the 71.93 billion estimate, so that's a bump there. They also said the outlook for Q1 GAAP and non-GAAP gross margins are expected to be 74.9 and 75% respectively, plus or minus 50 bips. Now, this is interesting to me because we actually talked a lot about this on Happy Hour yesterday. You would expect that variance to be a little bit higher when the gross margins are this high. A 50 bips variance, that's something more in line for like a 15% gross margin. We're looking at 75%. I think that variance should be a little bit higher. We'll see if any data comes out from the conference call or from analysts that kind of address that number. The next stock on our list is going to be Salesforce. Ticker on this one is CRM. That dropped 3.94% despite upbeat earnings as its future estimates fell short of Wall Street estimates. The SaaS apocalypse looks like it continues. Salesforce Q4 adjusted EPS of 381 beat the 304 estimate. Nice beat there. Sales of 11.201 billion beat the estimate of 11.175 billion. Salesforce sees Q1 GAAP EPS of 177 to 179. That was versus the 179 estimate, so in line, actually slightly lower. Salesforce sees full year 2027 GAAP EPS of 785 to 793. That was versus the 837 estimate. So the guide clearly coming in soft there, and that is responsible for CRM trading down. The next stock on our list is The Trade Desk. This is ticker TTD, and this has been a show favorite because of the way that it moves. But boy, oh boy, recently it's only been moving in one direction, and that is down. It tumbled 16.69% as it issued disappointing first quarter guidance. The company said it expects first quarter revenue to be more than 678 million. That was compared to the 689.4 million estimate. So that's actually a little bit light too. Trade Desk Q4 adjusted EPS of 59 cents slightly beat the 58 cent estimate. And sales of 846.79 million did in fact beat the 840.16 million estimate. Also said Q1 revenue is expected to be more than 678 million. Again, versus that 689 estimate, not great. Trade Desk, lower. Next stock we have on our list is going to be Dell Technologies, and the ticker on this one is DELL. It was 0.38% lower as analysts expected to post earnings of $3.53 per share on revenue of $31.75 billion, and that report comes after the close today. The next stock on our list is Driven Brands Holdings. Ticker on this one is DRVN, and it fell 5.09% after the company called off its earnings release, citing material errors in financial statements for fiscal years 2023 and 2024. If you followed the SMCI saga, you know that this is bad news for DRVN. That might absolutely be a stock to watch here today. All right, let's take a look at that SPY chart. Let's see what those NVIDIA earnings did for us. Well, the answer, nothing yet. Are you sure, Ryan? Are you sure, Ryan? NVIDIA earnings were blowout? Yes, I'm sure, because we are still in the sideways range that we have been in since October. And indeed, the market is responding positively to those earnings. If you take a look at the last several sessions here on the SPY, we traded back down to the 100-day moving average and held it. The bounce ended up with us recapturing the 20 and the 50-day. Absolutely good news if you're looking for more upside. And today, although it's mixed, it has kind of the early feeling here that we might trade higher. Anything can happen. The key here is that we still do not have our break of structure here. We are still in the sideways range. We continue to compress as the 100-day moving average moves up. Eventually, there is going to be a decision point, and we are barreling towards that very, very soon. Will we break out? Will we actually trade up and touch that 700 level? Got to be honest with you. It sure seems like that's what we're going to do first. What happens after that? Do we sell off? Do we maybe capture that, build above it? That's yet to be seen. I think anything can happen, but key levels are still the same. Can we break the all-time high, which I believe was this one, 697.84 is our all-time high. A break above that, and I think we're a shoe-in at that point to print 700 on the SPY. So we'll see if we get that, or we'll see if we get a pullback down to some of these moving averages. For those of you that are trying to trade 0 DTE SPY calls or puts, I would absolutely watch these levels, because if the market trades in and starts holding at 688 or 687.5, maybe really anywhere around these two numbers, you might actually see a bounce. And if you're a short-term trader trying to capture some gains, that might be something that you get here shortly out of the open. We shall see it. It's going to be a fun day. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. According to BlackRock's latest commentary, the firm remains overweight on U.S. equities. Nothing's changing here, folks. Citing a, quote, favorable macro backdrop, end quote, that is characterized by continued Federal Reserve easing, broad economic optimism, and less policy uncertainty. While markets are currently laser focused on the AI buildout, and rightfully so, BlackRock believes U.S. stocks are further supported by, quote, strong corporate earnings, end quote, and resilient profit margins. Regarding the broader economy, BlackRock anticipates steady growth and inflation that could drift below 2%, end quote. However, they remain cautious about long-term fiscal health, staying underweight on long-dated U.S. treasuries. They note that long-dated U.S. treasuries no longer provide portfolio ballast due to high debt servicing cost and rising term premia. On the policy front, BlackRock views recent trade developments as stable despite legal shifts. Following the Supreme Court's ruling on emergency tariff powers, they noted that the decision does not change the administration's focus on trade as central to its economic and strategic policy. Overall, BlackRock suggests that while AI remains a primary driver, investors should also monitor megaforces like geopolitical fragmentation, which are creating new return drivers beyond the technology sector. Pretty bullish outlook given everything that's happened, to be quite honest with you. Some upcoming economic data. As mentioned briefly, we have the initial jobless claims for the week ending February 21st, and that is going to be released at 8:30 here. We are 16 minutes out from that here, folks. 16 minutes. Okay, let's go back to Pro briefly. We're going to start by taking a look at the NVIDIA chart, and then we are going to dive in. Here you go. So very much like the SPY, we have been waiting on a possible break of structure here on NVIDIA. And while we did trade above the recent sideways range high, I believe that was put in right here, January 30th, Friday, January 30th. That high was 194.49. We're at 197 and change here in the pre-market. The reality is we actually have a double top separated by 3 days up here at about 212. So there's still some room for NVIDIA to trade up without breaking out. And so I'm curious here from the group. Now that the earnings report is out of the way, do you feel like NVIDIA is more prone to breaking out, or might this euphoria kind of wane and then lead to a sell-off? You'll have to let me know. I think yesterday, just to kind of cover all of our bases, here was the result from the poll yesterday. We asked NVIDIA earnings, what happens next? Beat, but already priced in, was 53%. And I'll be honest with you, you folks all deserve a pat on the back for voting that, because that is so far exactly what it seems like. We'll see if the day actually changes here. 53% of you look like you're correct. 30% of you said there's a massive beat and new highs are incoming. That's not off the table yet. Let's see how it trades. Certainly, we haven't put in new highs yet, but let's see how it trades here today. 11% of you said inline, market shrugs. That's kind of where we're at. Again, we'll see how we close here. And then 6% of you said miss and an AI trade pullback. And I think that one is probably off the table. They certainly didn't miss. Will AI pull back in a significant manner here? Not too sure, but y'all should be proud of how you voted. I think you have a very, very good idea of where things are going on. Can we actually trade up to 212, or do we give some of this back? Those key levels, if we do give some of it back, range anywhere between 185 and 187. Now, let's take a look at the actual quarter here. NVIDIA reported the highly anticipated fourth quarter financial results on Wednesday, with expectations high for the company coming into the print. Here are some of the key metrics. They reported revenue of $68.13 billion. That was up 73%, which is a really good number. The record revenue total beat a street consensus of $66 billion. And the company reported earnings per share of $162, which beat the $153 estimate. Now, as far as the segment goes, the data center segment, $62.3 billion. That's a 75% year-over-year change and a 22% quarter-over-quarter change. Gaming and AI PC was $3.7 billion. That was up 47% year-over-year and 13% month-over-month. Professional visualization was $1.3 billion. That was up 159% year-over-year and 74% quarter-over-quarter. And automotive came in at $604 million. That was up 6% or 2% quarter-over-quarter. Now, data center revenue was indeed a quarterly record. They reported full-year revenue of $215.9 billion. That was up 65% year-over-year and also sets a new company record. So again, these earnings are doing well here. Computing demand is, quote, computing demand is growing exponentially. The agentic AI inflection point has arrived. Grace Blackwell with NVLink is the king of inference today, delivering an order of magnitude lower cost per token, and Vera Rubin will extend that leadership even further, end quote. These quotes came from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. He's being cited as, hey, maybe did he save the market? Did he save AI? Certainly his company put up an impressive number. How we trade and finish here today, yet to be seen. Huang said, quote, enterprise adoption of agents is skyrocketing, end quote. And indeed, if you've used agents in any part of your life, whether it's work or getting support or something like that, you have undoubtedly come across at least one AI agent, and we suspect that that number is going to continue to grow. He goes on to say, quote, our customers are racing to invest in AI compute, the factories powering the AI industrial revolution and their future growth, end quote. Company had $58.5 billion remaining on its existing share repurchase plan at the end of the quarter. Benzinga readers of the morning ring the bell. Benzinga readers of the morning ring the bell newsletter correctly predicted NVIDIA beating fourth quarter earnings results. In the poll, 84.3% of readers said NVIDIA would beat Q4 estimates, while 15.7% said the company will not. Now, I'm reading that number because on our show, we actually asked you a more specific poll question that had more options, which means more chances to be wrong. And y'all folks were not wrong. The majority actually correct there. So really good stuff. Again, pat yourself on the back. Guidance from the company calls for first quarter revenue to be in the range of $76.44 billion to $79.56 billion versus a street estimate of $71.96 billion. The company expects non-GAAP gross margin to be 75% plus or minus 50 basis points. Again, that's going to be a key sticking point. And I want to see what kind of commentary comes out around that. NVIDIA's guidance does not include any data center compute revenue from China in the first quarter. So this earnings beat, the guide, all of it, that looks good. It actually still has another potential catalyst for being even more if China is folded in here. Just sets up another possible upside move here for NVIDIA. The company said it has secured in inventory and capacity to meet demand for the next several quarters, with supply constraints a potential headwind for the gaming sector in the first quarter and beyond. The market will now digest NVIDIA's earnings results and guidance, and there could be volatility for the stock, semiconductor companies, the technology sector, and the overall global markets. Like I said, we're going to have a fun day today. On Wednesday, an episode of PreMarket Playbook, a Benzinga daily YouTube show, viewers predicted the answer to what would happen. Told you guys, should be proud of yourself. You made the article. We already read these. A slim majority of how the show's viewers predict an earnings beat, but that the stock won't have a huge reaction. Look where we're at here, folks. Look where we're at here. Oh, I'm happy. 30% of viewers predict strong earnings from NVIDIA and shares rallying to new highs. Again, not off the table just yet. More on NVIDIA here. The historic fourth quarter earnings beat has sparked a heated debate over whether the AI giant's meteoric growth is built on a precariously, narrow foundation of just 8 customers. Now, we've talked a lot about overconcentration perhaps in the market. Also, it looks like there's overconcentration in some of these companies as they just sell to a very small pool of people. Despite the stellar numbers and bullish forecast for first quarter revenue of nearly $78 billion, prominent tech analyst Gene Munster is sounding a cautionary note. In a post on X, the managing partner at Deepwater Asset Management raised what many are calling the $150 billion question regarding the source of these funds. Quote, I estimate roughly 70% of NVIDIA revenue currently comes from just 8 companies, end quote. He warned and continued to say this concentration underpins investor concerns regarding the long-term stability of its growth. And for anyone that wants this, the tweets or any of the follow-ups or comments to those tweets there in the article I just threw in the chat there. NVIDIA's own filings lend weight to this concern. CFO Colette Kress confirmed during the earnings call that the top 5 cloud providers and hyperscalers alone account for a little over 50% of data center revenue. While CEO Jensen remains confident, arguing that compute equals revenues for his customers, the disparity between NVIDIA's $215.9 billion annual revenue and its handful of massive spenders creates a, quote, fragile giant, end quote, scenario. If Munster's estimate is correct, NVIDIA's future relies almost entirely on continued aggressive capex of a tiny elite, leaving the AI king vulnerable to any spending pivot by the tech industry's biggest players. NVIDIA stunned Wall Street on Wednesday, reporting record fourth quarter earnings, which we already covered. Huang described the moment as a global transformation, stating, quote, our customers are racing to invest in AI compute, the factories powering the AI industrial revolution. He also emphasized that the agentic AI is at an inflection point that has arrived, and NVIDIA's data center business scaled nearly 13x in just 3 years. Just really impressive numbers here, no doubt. As far as where it kind of ranks here, we're talking about these rankings quite a bit. Shares of NVIDIA are up only 4.86% year to date. I would say, given the amount of talk that we have about AI, you might think that number would be a little bit higher, as this is the AI king, as they say. Nonetheless, it's up just shy of 5%, while the NASDAQ 100 has advanced by only 0.5% in the same period. The stock was 8.76% higher over the last 6 months and 54.43% higher over the last year. On Wednesday, the stock closed 1.41% higher before trading up again in the after hours. Now, the Benzinga rankings, this has some good ones. 78th percentile for momentum, that's really good. But that combined with the 93rd percentile for growth and the 96th percentile for quality makes this thing an absolute monster. Intact, short, medium, and long-term price trend. This is one of the reasons why we think if we can break this structure to the upside, there might be another run on our hands here for NVIDIA. Now, Jensen did comment on the orbital data centers. I know that this is what you guys are all waiting for, right? Data centers in space. This is not going away, and I, for one, am happy about that. I can't wait to keep talking about this type of stuff. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang shared his views on orbital data centers during the chip maker's Q4 earnings call, outlining economic challenges associated with the phenomenon. During the company's earnings call with investors and analysts, Huang was asked about his views on space-based AI compute, and he said, quote, "The economics are poor today, but it's going to improve over time," end quote. He also added that space had an abundance of energy and plenty of space in orbit, outlining positive factors in the race for solar-powered AI satellites. So again, key takeaway here, well, he thinks that the economics are poor now. We all pretty much agree with that. Does leave some room for this to be possible and make sense in the future. However, he acknowledged that there was no airflow in space, which means that the only way to dissipate heat is through conduction. He added that radiators needed for the heat dissipation were fairly large. Space-based hardware isn't novel for the chipmaker. MPS is already the world's first GPU in space and Hopper in space, end quote. Now, Gene Munster here, investor Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management took Huang's comments as a positive signal for the future of AI data centers in space. He talked about this, and here in a post on the social media platform X on Wednesday, Munster summarized Huang's views on the topic. My take: Jensen's message is orbital data centers are difficult today and worth pursuing. And again, that would be my takeaway from that too. Very much like the quantum theme, which we all kind of think is eventually down the road, might not be here yet. That doesn't mean that there aren't plays in the meantime. We already talked about NVIDIA's earnings a few times. I won't bore you with that again. Elon Musk has touted solar-powered AI satellites as the next step in the AI compute, and his goals received a major boost as SpaceX acquired Musk's artificial intelligence company xAI. However, he received criticism for his views, with short seller Jim Chanos saying that space-based artificial intelligence compute was, quote, AI snake oil, end quote, and argued that the cost of such an endeavor would far exceed the cost of ground-based data centers on Earth. So let me know, you folks think we're eventually going to be doing this compute in space? Do you think that we are going to have data centers in space? I'm not going to write that off. I'm generally pessimistic, or maybe skeptical is a better word about things. I am not writing that off at all. All right, next stock here. We're going to talk about CrowdStrike. This is ticker CRM. I know this is one that we've traded a lot. There actually might be some folks that are still long in here. We've talked a lot about software and the SaaS apocalypse and all of that stuff. And we have an interesting chart here on CRM. So first of all, we had a death cross back in April of last year. It traded sideways before really breaking down. And in that sideways trading, it actually developed a head and shoulders, and a head and shoulders that lined up with a trend line that goes all the way back to 2020, to the COVID years. And it looks to me like we're still playing this out. Today, we should get a more clear picture of that. You can see that CrowdStrike has bounced off the 174, 175 level and basically stopped right at the 20-day, which this stock has been under since we puked up the 200-day moving average. So a couple of things to look for here on CrowdStrike. First of all, as you can see by the lower bound trend line that goes all the way back to 2016, and it also has a pretty good volume shelf at the same level, by the way. This, to me, looks to be our next downside target. I would say probably 160-ish, just to make it easy, as the next support level if we are not able to change trend here. Otherwise, can we get a close above 192.5? Can we recapture the 20-day moving average, perhaps even build above that, maybe back test the other support trend line that we had here? That might be enough to change CRM's direction. I don't know which way this is going to go yet, but I'll be watching the chart to have that tell me. Now, what's going on with CrowdStrike? Shares are down during Thursday's pre-market. Vast Data announced a new partnership with CrowdStrike to improve security for companies using artificial intelligence. The partnership integrates Vast's data layer governance with CrowdStrike's enterprise-grade threat detection, aiming to secure the entire AI lifecycle from data ingestion to operational deployment. George Kurtz, the CEO of CrowdStrike, emphasized the importance of this collaboration, stating, quote, AI is becoming the operating system of the modern enterprise, end quote, highlighting the need for robust security measures at the data layer. And indeed, we expect all of this to just increase, right? The security requirements are going to keep growing. As enterprises transition from AI experimentation to production, the partnership seeks to address evolving risks associated with continuous data ingestion and dynamic workflows. The initiative is expected to bolster security for AI systems, enabling organizations to deploy production AI with greater confidence. Now, some technical analysis here. I know we just took a look at the chart, but here's some more for you. The stock is currently trading 12.5% below its 20-day simple moving average and 20.3% below its 100-day, indicating a bearish trend in the short to medium term. Now, that's going to be really key. Can we recapture that 20-day? We might be able to turn that around. Over the past 12 months, shares have decreased significantly, and they're currently positioned closer to their 52-week lows than highs, suggesting ongoing weakness in the stock's performance. The RSI is at 44.45, which is considered neutral territory, although in the bottom half, while the MACD is at 0.15 below its signal line at 0.22, indicating bearish pressure on the stock. The combination of neutral RSI and bearish MACD suggests mixed momentum, reflecting uncertainty in the stock's near-term outlook. Key resistance, 375. Key support, 298. The countdown is on. Oh, man, I went to the wrong... I did it again, guys. I did it again. I showed you the wrong chart first. I meant to do Salesforce. I meant to do the Salesforce earnings and then the CrowdStrike, and I totally mixed it up. Sorry about that if I was being confusing here. Let me actually, before we take a look at the support and resistance, let me correct my error. Let me go back here and do CRWD. We'll take a look at this chart here. It's also falling, and actually I extended this trend line out yesterday. I'm not quite sure why it saved. The reason that it's important is because guess what? Very much like CRM, we are coming into a trend line. Now, we were talking about some of the moving averages, and then when we're looking at the Salesforce chart here, here's the reality. The same thing is happening here in CrowdStrike. The 20-day moving average is very clearly showing us the direction of where the stock is going, and we have used that as significant resistance during this period. We also have coughed up a lot of the other moving averages that we tried to bounce from. So most recently, we tried to bounce from the 500-day. We were actually successful in bouncing from the 500-day back up to the 20-day. It was the second attempt where we were unable to hold. And the same thing happened on the 200-day. We came in, bounced a little bit from the 200-day up to that 20, and then coughed it up when we rolled back over. So I would be looking for something very similar here. To me, it certainly seems like the next move down here is going to be to this trend line. Value there at about 334.5. Then maybe, just maybe, we get a bounce back up. If we can clear that 20-day, then maybe we can turn this around. Now, if that happens before we actually test this support level, that's possible too. But I think that you can be patient here. By the way, I know we were just talking about the news here for CrowdStrike. CRM, Salesforce, just reported earnings yesterday. CrowdStrike reports next week, Tuesday, after the market closes. So, again, I'm sorry about that. I continue to screw that up, even when I remind myself. I even have a note on my sheet here to cover both of them. Somehow, I still managed to screw it up. Nonetheless, key resistance here for CrowdStrike, CRWD, 375, key support down there at 298. That's actually below our trend line that we were just looking at. EPS estimate is 74 cents. That's actually down from 103. So the bar is being lowered here. Should make it easier for it to put up a better number, maybe, question mark. Revenue estimate, 1.3 billion. That's actually up from 1.06 billion. Now, some consensus here from analysts. Evercore RSI lowered their price target to 375. That was done on February 25th. That was yesterday. TD Cowen is at a buy. They lowered their price target to 480. And Oppenheimer is at an outperform. They lowered their price target to 500. Okay, now let me clean this up further. So we just talked about the news here for CrowdStrike. We also talked about the chart. I briefly talked about the chart for Salesforce here. I read you the earnings numbers earlier here for this. There was one other thing here. That was the EPS, the GAAP EPS. And then today, Piper Sandler reiterating overweight on Salesforce, but lowering the price target to 250. Needham reiterates buy on Salesforce and maintains their $400 price target. Just from these two recent ratings here, $150 spread on Salesforce. So I would turn this up, or I would turn this over, I guess I would say. What do you folks think here? Where is CRM? And let me make sure I get this right this time. Where is Salesforce, ticker CRM? What is the next move here? Because right now, it sure looks like we're about to test that 20-day here today. If we break that, do we maybe take out some more of these key levels? Don't forget, we also have this really important neckline at 230. And so if we're able to take out 192 and then maybe the other trend line and then maybe 226, we've got a lot of resistance areas up here on Salesforce. Let me know, what does the group think here about Salesforce? Izzy says, I don't play it. Okay. All right. Well, let me know. Let me know what you think here for a trade. Now, Brian, you have a really good question here. Rye, what's your opinion of AI making software business models obsolete? Okay. This is a really good question. I love how you asked a very simple question, but unfortunately, it doesn't really have a simple answer. First of all, will it render the software business models obsolete? Well, maybe. If you have an archaic business model where you're not really providing a whole lot of benefit to your end user, that might get disrupted. Now, will it go away? No, I don't think it'll go away, but will it get disrupted? Absolutely. In fact, Brian, this is exactly what we just saw with the IBM news for a couple of days, where Claude's new release was supposed to make, I think it was the Koban system, supposed to make it more efficient. So better for the end user, but that's going to impact the revenue stream for IBM. So I would suspect that all of these software business models are going to be impacted. Really what this comes down to is how well is the company able to adapt? How well are they able to change their business model to not fight AI, but instead incorporate it and then still make it valuable to the end user? Again, when it comes to some of these AI applications, if they actually provide a benefit, the company that has the best AI agent or best AI involvement in their company are probably going to excel. You know, I think about it from Salesforce. I actually think a little bit more about like Intuit, right? Like QuickBooks or tax filing software or something like that. I would imagine stuff like that just sucks up a lot of time. The models that create something that give the time back to the end user are going to be the most sought after. So I don't think that it's going to make it obsolete. I think it might make some of the parts of the business model either obsolete or show that they're outdated. But ultimately, I don't think that the SaaS apocalypse or whatever is going to end in us not needing software anymore. I also think that this change might take a little bit longer than some of the predictions are that's given. That's a really good question. I'm sorry for going on a rant there, but something to think about. Brian, I'd like to get your follow-up on this. I'd like to get opinions from the rest of the group too. What do you think about software? Do you think here, like Brian is asking, that the entire business model is going to be obsolete? I tend to hold a more glass half full view there, that maybe not obsolete, but changed and hopefully better. Buffalo by Bicycle summing it up beautifully in just a couple of words here. Kramer likes CRM, so probably a pass. Oh, Buffalo by Bicycle, that's well done. That is well done. Okay. Good discussion, though. Good discussion on that. Now, I got a couple more pieces of news here. How are we doing on time? Oh, we are good on time. We're going to have even more time today for ticker time. So get your charts ready. Don't give them to me now because it's going to get lost in the chat and then it's going to look like I'm forgetting you and then you're going to get all mad at me and we don't need to do that. So just sit tight, but think about those stocks that you want to take a look at. We'll go ahead and chart them together. Next piece of news here is about hidden AI costs. Moody's Ratings revealed that 5 leading hyperscalers, Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Oracle, have racked up $662 billion in future data center lease obligations that remain off their balance sheets. The race to build AI infrastructure has led to a significant financial overhang. These tech giants have entered into long-term data center lease commitments that have yet to commence and therefore are not classified as current liabilities. As a result, the obligations do not appear on their balance sheets under generally accepted accounting principles or GAAP methods. That was reported by Fortune, citing a Moody's report released on Monday. By 2025 end, the companies had accumulated $969 billion in total undiscounted future lease commitments, highlighted by Moody's. In the coming years, as these leases take effect, more than $500 billion in data center assets will begin appearing on corporate balance sheets, putting pressure on traditional accounting metrics. Well, I tell you what, they better have revenue to offset some of that. Am I right? These AI projects better start leading to sales and revenue for some of these. Moody's analysts David Gonzalez and Alistair Drake said the unrecorded $662 billion amounts to roughly 113% of the combined adjusted debt of the 5 hyperscalers. Gonzalez told Fortune that the companies are not sidestepping a liability. Rather, the obligation has not yet been recognized because the related services have not been delivered. According to the report, the shift is driven by AI hardware's shorter lifespan, a discussion that has gone back and forth. I'm immediately thinking of CoreWeave CEO Michael Intrater. Well, U.S. data center leases traditionally ran 10 to 15 years. AI equipment typically lasts only 4 to 6 years. And actually, I think we got up to 7 from the CoreWeave CEO. Now, this prompted hyperscalers to seek shorter initial lease terms with renewal options to make these deals viable for landlords. They're often supported by substantial off-balance sheet guarantees from the tenant. Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, and Google did not immediately respond to our request for comments. I'm sure that they will at some point. This is a story that's not going away. We'll continue to update you on that. The rapid growth of AI infrastructure in a short span has raised several questions. Fernando de Leon, founder of Leon Capital Group, has expressed concerns over the financial structure supporting this expansion. De Leon questioned why the world's largest companies are reluctant to own data centers outright. He argued that despite AI being central to their business, major hyperscalers prefer to have others build and finance their assets instead of keeping them on their balance sheets. Well, yeah, of course. Meanwhile, Michael Burry, the famed Big Short investor, has warned that tech giants like Microsoft and Meta and Alphabet are using aggressive accounting maneuvers to mask the true costs of the AI infrastructure race. He claims this is boosting their profits by roughly 20%, accusing the companies of understating depreciation to shield their bottom lines. We talked about that earlier this week. The core allegation is that some companies are overstating how long their AI hardware remains useful. Despite rapid technological change, the claim is that they are extending the reported useful life of chips and servers to delay expenses and avoid impacting current earnings. Okay, next stop, and I'll make sure I don't screw this one up. Next one here is going to be Tesla, and this kind of hit home because I haven't seen this yet, but I will be your boots on the ground reporting, especially this weekend. It's actually supposed to warm up here a little bit this weekend. Starting with the Tesla chart, here we go. Now, unlike some of the software names that we just took a look at, Tesla is in the process, as we speak, of recapturing that 20-day. Now, the 20-day moving average, basically since the end of December, all of this year, Tesla's been under pressure and unable to trade above its 20-day today, maybe it's that day. 20-day moving average value, 414.88. Current price in the pre-market here, 415 on Tesla. That immediately is going to be one of the key levels. If we can close above that, perhaps we can go after, this is what, 431 right there. Perhaps we can go after that level. We also have the 50 and the 100, not far above that, 437 and 436 and a half, respectively there. So Tesla's got some targets, some near-term targets here for the upside if it can get rolling. And I know that the robotaxi cybercab has been a big story here. This one caught me by surprise this morning, folks. Chicago highway testing, Elon Musk's $30,000 price tag, trademark woes, and more. The cybercab is pivotal to CEO Elon Musk's robotaxi and self-driving ambitions as the automaker pushes towards artificial intelligence and robotics. While deliveries are still some time away, the news cycles have been filled with several updates about the vehicle. And starting with the cybercab here, in a video posted on the social media platform X, user T-Nerds, Trent, I guess is his name, shared a video of the cybercab as it was spotted testing on a highway near Chicago. And looking at the street sign here, that's the exit for Addison. This is the good old 94 Express. This is the Kennedy here in Chicago. After coming back from finding a Waymo, tonight I see a cybercab cruising down the highway back to its base in Avondale. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for this. I did not think that these were here yet. Apparently they are. I'll let you know if I see any of them on the road, and I will take note about how it's performing and all of that. While the video didn't immediately make clear whether the vehicle was being driven autonomously or by a human driver, the user opined that it was indeed being driven by a human, saying that the testing units of the cybercab come fitted with a Cybertruck steering wheel. Quote, you can tell by the flutter of the brake light engagement and the late signal that it's not on FSD, end quote, adding that there were nuanced differences between the validation units and the production line vehicles that started in mid-February. Musk had earlier shared that the cybercab would be available to purchase at a price of $30,000 or less as the production-ready version of the vehicle was rolled off the manufacturing line recently. Musk also reiterated the April production target for the cybercab, sharing that the vehicle would feature no steering wheel or pedals when it starts production in just over a month's time. Musk also confirmed the new approach to the vehicle's manufacturing process, which will help the EV maker achieve 5x higher output. However, challenges remain with the cybercab's production as Tesla recently filed an appeal with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or the USPTO, against a beverage wholesaler Unibev, alleging fraud. Tesla has accused the company of squatting on trademarks to extract money from the automaker. Unibev also reportedly owns trademarks for other marks like Tesla Kila and filed for trademarks like Cyberquad and Cybertaxi. Okay, we'll see how that one shakes out. Meanwhile, its cybercab's full self-driving capabilities could also be brought into question as the automaker's full self-driving system, which also powers Tesla's robotaxi, reported 5 additional crashes in Austin, taking the total number of reported incidents to from mid-2025 to 14. Still way less than human drivers, if I'm not mistaken. Tesla has also sued the California Department of Motor Vehicles after the company dropped autopilot from its marketing. Sorry, I got lost my train of thought there. Where is this? From its marketing activities and avoided a suspension of its license to sell and manufacture vehicles. I'm sorry about that. The company dropped the term following the DMV filing a lawsuit and accusing Tesla of misleading customers about the capabilities of its system. Tesla now says that the agency has presented no consumer witness in the case and wrongfully accused the company of being a false advertiser. So let me know. Name it XCab, says Buffalo by Bicycle. XCab, that would be a good ticker. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen that ticker yet. Okay, let's see. What do we got on time? Oh, man, 8:48 Eastern. We are still in good shape here. We're going to do ticker time soon, but first, we're going to do a couple of street tweets. Let me show you what we got going on with our street tweet segment. I love tea so much. All right, first tweet here. This comes from First Squawk. This is an awesome automated account that I follow here on Twitter. Iran's Tasnim news agency says the Iran-U.S. nuclear talks are paused, and they are meant to resume later in the afternoon in Geneva. So when I woke up this morning, I saw that there were a number of back and forth comments here. So it looks like, while the talks are currently paused right now, seems to be okay because they plan to resume them. I know we've talked about really the Iran fears and all of that, and what that's going to mean for the market, most specifically oil, but then also the broader market as a whole. It looks like they are trying to use diplomacy here so that the warships that are being amassed in the Middle East are not needed. This is something that we've been watching for a long time, and we will continue to watch this. Producer, next tweet. Next one here comes from Tracy Schuchart, and this is one of my favorite follows on X as it comes to the energy sector. No affiliation here with Benzinga, but a highly recommended follow if you have an X feed. She tweets here that Stellantis posts a 20 billion euro second half loss after overestimating the EV transition. Now, it might be difficult for you folks to see on screen, so let me actually go ahead and give you the link to the tweet here itself. In here, it says, on Thursday, Stellantis reported a net loss of 20.1 billion euros or 23.8 billion USD for the second half of 2025 after multi-billion euro charges the automaker booked earlier this month to reflect its scaled back electric vehicle ambitions. The huge loss, in line with preliminary ranges provided 3 weeks ago, underscores how auto groups globally are taking a hit from a slower than expected and more complex shift from petrol engine cars to electric vehicles as both the United States and Europe water down EV targets. This is important because I know a lot is made about deliveries, and I feel like maybe even earlier this week or last week we were talking about Rivian. Some of you had some spicy thoughts on how Rivian should just kind of, or was it Ross Gerber that said that? Several of you agreed. Can't remember exactly how it worked, but the talks here about, Rivian actually being the EV car maker. Here's the thing. I'm sure that EVs are going to continue to proliferate. I'm sure the technology is going to get better. I'm sure the battery is going to get better. I'm sure the range is going to get better. But the reality is that the population, not the population of the United States, but the population of Earth is telling you that they are not ready to make this shift. And really, the best answer is to provide both or to also provide a hybrid option. This was something that, as far as the stocks go, Toyota stock outperformed almost all of these when it comes to car makers because they chose to go the hybrid route as opposed to picking one or the other. This stat here shows you that this is not a thought local to the US. This is a global thought. How will this affect the electric car makers? We'll see how that shakes out. Maybe now that lends some more credence to why Elon or Tesla, I suppose, is moving into other things like robotics and autonomous driving. Okay, let's go back to Pro and let's take a look at some tickers. Let me go through here real quick, see what you guys said here. All right, looks like you guys are talking about software here. I love it. Lion here saying software stocks not out of the woods yet. We may see some more downside. Well, that's important because CoinFox, not far after that, said we need IGV to catch a bid. If that can run, CRM is a great trade, in my opinion. CoinFox, I would completely agree with you. Tying this back to Lion's comments here about software stocks not out of the woods yet. Here's a look at the IVG chart. This thing has been absolutely smoked recently. And indeed, we bounced off of this level that I think we almost tested it here. We tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. This support 5 times here. We are under the 20, like a lot of the other charts that we were just looking at. We are under the 20. The 20 is clearly showing us the direction here. Lion, I would tend to agree with your assessment. We are not out of the woods yet. And better still, if this is able to catch a bid, like CoinFox is alluding to, if we can get above the 20-day moving average, and I think at this point, if you want to see a reversal of a really stark trend like this, you're going to need more than one close above that level. So if we can get 3 closes above that 20-day moving average, CoinFox, perhaps at that point, we can say maybe some of the software names are catching a bid. And if you're using IGV and then want to go into some other individual names, maybe this will line up with some of these individual names also recapturing their 20. Ultimately, Lion, I agree with you. I think that we're not out of the woods yet. I am not confident in saying that the bottom is in some of the software stocks. And CoinFox, I am in agreement with you as well, because if we start catching a bid on IGV, that might be a great indicator for you folks to then take a look at some of these individual names. I think that's good. John here saying one challenge for Salesforce is how they utilize AI to enable integration with other on-premium and SaaS solutions to create value for their customers. Indeed, how are they going to do that? How are the AI tools going to integrate? How's that going to do with data privacy concerns, right? And then ultimately, as you're outlining here, does that provide value to their customers? If it does, that's going to be a positive. If it doesn't, and they're spending all this money, yikes, look out. Lion doesn't care about our discussion here. He just ignores car stocks. Cool. Well, we'll let you know when we're done discussing them because we're going to keep taking a look at them. Okay. Here, John goes on to say it took 60 years to replace the horse and buggy after the first car hit the road. And this is such a good comment. I actually didn't know that time frame there. I'm going to take this as being totally accurate here, but you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. This is the entire thought that you are going to, and I don't even mean to go at governments here, but it actually plays into the trade. The entire thought that you were going to mandate something was one of the looniest things I have ever heard. And I said that at the beginning, and I am on that now, and that is being proven by the data. Not a debatable thing anymore. That entire idea to mandate this was stupid. Straight up. And as John is outlining here, the change takes time, and that's okay. And the companies that plan for that are going to outperform. In fact, we've already, as I mentioned earlier with Toyota, we've already seen that. But John, one more thing here. I know you're talking about the specific example here for cars, which is totally dead on. I think something similar is going to happen for some of these software stocks. So tying it back to an earlier question that we had here about the business models being disrupted, I think that any type of technological change, look at the internet. If you don't want to compare cars to AI software models, look at the internet. The internet absolutely changed how we do commerce, how we do a lot of things. And it didn't just completely erase everything. It changed things. Companies that did not opt to move to an online presence, yep, they slowly faded. It didn't happen overnight. It took a number of years. And companies that adapted and said, yeah, things are changing here, but we'll kind of just go with the flow. A lot of those companies are still around. And then, of course, there's stories like Amazon, which just became money printing factories from doing that. So, John, I think this comment is really, really good. And I actually think that this is applicable for more than just the car industry. Anyway. I got loaded up on coffee and I feel better today, so I'm sorry if I'm doing more rants than normal. There was 100 years of disruption after Guggenheim invented the printing press. There you go. There you go. Okay. Now let's dive into some more charts. I thank you, CoinFox. Thank you, Lion. I had asked you guys to come up with other charts that you want to see here. We have about 3 minutes until 13 rolls in. We're going to knock out the movers. I don't think there's a whole lot on there, so we'll probably be able to do even more ticker time on some of these bigger stocks. But let me have them. What stocks do you want to take a look at? What stocks do you want to take a look at? Lion says Amazon. Lion, ask and you shall receive. Well, as long as it's not political and crazy stuff. If you ask about stocks, you shall receive. Here is Amazon. And I think that this is also a really good chart to take a look at. Izzy, I'd like to get your opinion on Amazon and how that's going to trade here. This came in towards the 500. Looked like it was going to get a little bit hairy because we bounced and then gave it up again and looked like we were going to roll over. But now we've recaptured and actually back tested that on the way up. Again, really the theme for today has been the 20-day moving average on a lot of these charts. And still with Amazon, that 20-day is at 215 here. We also have the makings of a pretty sweet gap. So a sustained move up in Amazon here. I'm looking at a target here of 223. That's 13 points above where we're at right now, and we have 5 points from where we're at right now till we get to that mile marker, if you will, for the 20-day moving average. We also have this consolidation range that we've outlined here on the chart, and I think a move back into this. A move back into this area probably means that we're going to go to the midpoint of the area next. That happens to line up with some of these moving averages. So my suspicion here is that if we're able to recapture some of these, perhaps then we can trade back up to the top end of the range. Just to channel 13's energy right here, let's see what we get in terms of a trend line here. I actually see one. Let's see how well this lines up. Oh, not an accident, folks. Not an accident. So this support line, we're going to leave this and we'll continue to extend this. If Amazon rolls back over or simply does not have the strength to recapture the 20-day, we'll start looking at this as a potential downside target. Okay. Look at that. 13's in the chat. You know what that means? Yeah, you guessed it. Pre-market pulse starts right now. Okay. There we go. 13.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. How you doing? We survived the NVIDIA print. Congratulations.
Was there any doubt that we wouldn't?
There was no doubt, but we're just trying to spin this up here. We survived the NVIDIA print. Look, before we get moving into some of the movers here, did you have any thoughts on the Amazon chart? I did promise more ticker time here. Lion, I added the rest of these here. Goog, MU, we'll get to those, Baba. But 13, before we move on, do you have any thoughts here on the Amazon chart?
I saw that you drew that trend line.
Oh, did you? Were you here for that? Did you? I'm glad you got to see that.
I would keep that in place. I have another trend line that it was based off of the August. Basically the two flash crashes that we had. I guess the second one wasn't so much, but you know how we had the yen carry trade unwind in August of 2024. I used that low and then the Liberation Day low as a basis for the trend line that I've got here. But I do like yours, starting from the January 2023 low. That's on my chart now too.
Well, thankfully, 13, we're not limited to trend lines here, so we'll plop that other one on here. What that does, if we do end up rolling over and have another downside move, that actually gives us another lower target. So yeah. I'll go ahead and leave that on here.
And if this area doesn't hold up where you have the trend line that you drew already, there's this whole sideways consolidation area from 2020 to 2022 that could provide some support. And we could end up coming down there. I think the top of that range is about 178, 180, with the thickest part of it being about 162. I'm not really confident that we're going to go all the way down there, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's certainly possible. I just don't quite see it right now. I'm not sure that we're going to hold above the trend line that you just drew, but I don't know that we're going to go to those levels that are about $50 away from here.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just answering a question here in chat. All right. Do you want to knock those movers out, come back to some of these big stocks? Do you think that's the right play? Okay, let's do that. All right, let's go to the movers list here. We'll start with ALBT. I see a number of you folks are already chatting about this here. Let me go ahead and load up the chart first. Here's your 5-minute chart. Wow, big move here. So this was a penny stock into dollar territory. Avalon Global Care shares are trading higher after the company announced that it has been accepted into the Advanced Micro Devices AI Developer Program. You were breaking this news, or at least chatting it there, or chatting about it in the chat. So I'll let you take care of that. Let me do the quick runaround here. Short interest, 3.43% of the float is shorted with 1.39 days to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume, pretty small. 279,000. It is traded 90 million shares. The float here is 3.8 million. So 13, what's the chart tell you here on this one?
Well, I'm looking at the 5-minute chart right now, and we've been trying to get over this 1 to 30 area for a while now. We've only been able to test it a couple of times, and I'm waiting to see if this current candle that we have right here is actually going to take us over that 128, 130 area. As the news had mentioned, this is a partnership with AMD as part of their advanced, their AI developer program. Being that this is a very small company that wasn't really getting a whole lot of attention paid to it, this is some really good news. The float, 3.87 million shares. a company does need cash, but I think the next earnings report that we get from them, which is supposed to happen at the end of March, will provide more clarity on what their cash position is like and what their finances are like. But it looks like they are going to have to raise some capital at some point, because they don't have a whole lot on their balance sheet, and I didn't see any capital raises of recent. So
okay.
So that's kind of what where I'm at with that. It's great news, but I'm not. I get the sense that they're going to have to raise some capital, because I didn't notice anything about them having more cash than what's on their balance sheet right now.
Okay, now I'm reading through the PR here. This is a quote: acceptance into the AMD AI developer program reinforces AQAI's technical capabilities as we expand our AI-driven media and automation platforms. That came from Ming Lee, the interim CEO and chief operating officer. She goes on to say, Avalon has been strategically repositioning itself as a technology-focused AI company, with AQAI serving as a core growth driver in automated media production and enterprise AI applications. 13, this seems to be like the company's trying to kind of like turn around into this new thing, and this is their big bet. And so this makes me wonder, if this doesn't work or does not work as fast as anticipated, does this spell more trouble for this company? And I think you bring up a great point about the potential capital raise.
Yeah, I just didn't see anything about them having cash, and they're not quite profitable yet. So they're going to need the cash. I just don't know where it's going to come from, and I didn't see anything about them having it. As far as the chart here, though, if we can hold above VWAP, there's still some higher prints that we can push. I mean, it looks like we're trying to make that push through that 128, 130 spot right now.
Sure does.
So we'll see if we end up getting that here. But I want to see more volume out of this, because that's what's concerning me right now. Is we just don't have the volume to get through all these sellers here from 125 to 135. And then there's even more sellers above that around 150. So we need to see an increase in volume here to get through this resistance.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Good plan. ALBT. Next, we have HCTI. This is Healthcare Triangle, and this stock was about just shy of $6 yesterday, almost a double here earlier in the pre-market, still holding higher here by about 46%. But as you can see, this pre-market structure that we had, we actually did break that to the downside and got caught, thankfully, by the 200 EMA. Let's take a look at the news on this one. This is from yesterday after hours. Healthcare Triangle subsidiary Quantum Nexus and TNG Digital, the operator of Malaysia's leading digital financial services and lifestyle app, announced a strategic partnership to provide digital mental health solutions to over 25 million customers. Okay, so digital health solutions via an app. The stock's up big. Short interest on this one, 6% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. The average trade here, another ghost town stock, 250,000 shares. We've done 7+ million, but this thing's got a micro float. I show a float here under 800,000 shares. 13, you think we get some fireworks from HCTI? We've traded this one before, have we not?
I think we have.
I think we have too.
I'm not sure when it was. Let me see if I do have some drawings on my broker chart.
Yeah.
But we have done this before, and I think now when we did trade this the last time, this was before they did their reverse split, their 1-for-60 reverse split. This company is going through NASDAQ recompliance. They're trying to achieve that right now. So one of the things they just did, they did a 1-for-60 that occurred earlier this month on the 6th, a few Fridays ago. They do need cash still. They've got about a quarter's worth of it, on their balance sheet. So I think they're going to have to do a capital raise. But this one could see some pretty good movement today. I know right now the pattern on the chart doesn't look that great, and it does look like it could still go lower. I think I had a bit of a target here. Okay, so we did end up coming down to the 200 EMA. We lost it, regained support, so we're kind of hanging out above it right now. I would want to see this turn around at this stage, because I was waiting for this to come down to the 200 for support. Now that we've got it, this needs to turn around and start coming back up. I think that that 805 area was also a bit of a support zone from the move up. It was a resistance turn support area. So another good thing that I noticed about this recapture of the 200. So we need to see this, maybe go a little bit more sideways and then start coming back up over 880. I think that's the next resistance area we need to recapture.
Okay, the only fair value gap that I had here, I don't think is going to come into play. It is the one that I've drawn here on the screen, but it is no longer unmitigated. In fact, the price has actually come into this area twice since this gap was created. So maybe watch it for a potential area, but this does not set up a trade trigger for that. Okay, next here, this is Ionix. I don't know that we necessarily need to cover the chart because this is based on IONQ. Did you want to cover IONQ? At all? I know they reported earnings yesterday. That was not part of my news rundown. So if you want to do that now, we can.
Sure. I didn't go over Ionic, but it's one that we've talked about a lot. We've traded this. We know what it is. They didn't lose as much money as they have in the past. So that's one of the reasons why it's up. Also because they guided much higher than the estimates. I know that
they also had another piece of news. So good job covering the earnings there. The company announced it has successfully deployed the technology powering the Romanian national quantum communication infrastructure. Now that's news 13, but I don't know what it means, admittingly.
Yeah, I don't know what the national quantum communication infrastructure is. I imagine that it has something to do with their data networks, but I don't know exactly what that is.
I'll get you an answer here shortly.
And then I think that in addition to that news, it's really, they guided higher. That really got this going last night. And the news has helped continue it. So let's see here. Where are we going to go with this news? Because I don't think that we're necessarily running just on earnings news anymore. We got that other piece of news in there. So this has a
really quickly, 13, regarding the other piece of news. The Romanian National Quantum Communication Infrastructure, known as the RONA QCI, not a joke, is a major national project to build a quantum secured communications network across Romania. Here's the thing. I don't know how big this is because this is, specific to Romania, and I just don't know. But I would be curious to see if this is successful. This might be something that kind of proliferates. State-of-the-art quantum key distribution network, one of Europe's largest, designated to protect sensitive communications against the current and future cyber threats. This is interesting because we've talked about quantum possibly breaking some of this, and it looks like there's actually already companies trying to address this.
Yeah, and I think Seals SQ is another one that's in that space as well.
Good mention.
But with regard to Ionix chart, I'm looking at their 5-minute intraday, and since yesterday, we've kind of started to broaden out. Like we're in a broadening wedge right now. If you draw trend lines on both the bottom and top side of the price action since we opened yesterday, I think you'll find that there's a bit of a broadening wedge here. Now, what can happen is we could still push higher and test the top of the wedge, and then come back.
Did you draw it like this? Did you use that pre-market? How did you draw the bottom side?
So I just used, basically, I didn't really have anything to go on in the after hours or pre-market. I just used all the price action from the intraday yesterday. So that would be the intraday low and then the low just before we closed.
Got it.
You have a really weird wick there.
Yeah, that's just from the overnight session. That's why I was wondering if we were including that or excluding it. But your recent instructions show the broadening formation and just kind of ignore that weird candle. So we should be good.
Yeah. Your chart looks slightly different, but it's fine.
I had the scale manually adjusted too. This is now reset.
It's more or less pretty much the same, but I would just be waiting to see what happens next with this 65 EMA. We continue to get support. I think we could end up testing the top of this wedge. If we lose it, I think we're going to go to the bottom of the wedge. There may be some support on the way down to around the 200 EMA. There's just a lot of sideways consolidation right in that area too.
Got to shout this out. This comment goes hard. Joe saying any quantum policy will unavoidably involve uncertainty. So maybe we could call it Schrodinger's policy. Maybe this will incorporate principles of Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. This was well done, Joe. I'm not sure how many people got that, but I absolutely love it. Here we go. We'll go with the joke just to kind of carry it forward. Schrodinger's house gets raided by the police. One cop says to him, "Hey, buddy, you know you got a dead cat in the basement?" Schrodinger answers, "I do now." It's so good. Look, I'm a science nerd at heart. You will win me over with jokes about string theory, quantum theory, all of that. That was well done. All right, 13, get us back on track here.
I'm all finished with Ionic.
Okay. I'm having too good of a time. All right. Next here is going to be RXT. This is Rex.
I don't need to cover this. We know what this is.
What?
I don't need to cover this. We know what this is.
Yeah, but I was just going to say we traded this actually earlier. This was Friday and then Monday. This is basically popping right back into the range. This is a reminder here on the short interest on that. It's actually crept up. Yeah, we got a new print yesterday. That's actually crept up 11.91% of the float shorted with 4.08 days to cover. They're also reporting earnings right now, or they did here this morning. Conference call is ongoing. EPS 1 cent loss, better than the 3 cent loss estimate. Sales of 683 million, better than the 672 million estimate there. And it looks like they see sales. Actually, the guide's a little bit lower. So this is interesting. We had a beat, but we had a lower guide. The stock's still higher, 25%.
That EPS guide, that just EPS guide, I don't know when anybody's getting excited about that for, but there must have been something in the conference call that was said that caused it to go higher, because that's a big EPS guidance miss. Like it's pretty sizable,
especially for a company this size.
Mm-hmm. So don't trade the fundamentals. Obviously, just trade the chart. Let me see here with our XT since we're on it. Let's see. Okay, so we did come up to some bit of resistance area around 190. That's kind of the top. It's kind of the opening print from several days ago, the 23rd. So that consolidation may be providing some resistance. Even if it comes back up and tests that again, it still could provide some resistance. I don't think I have to worry about that now. There's somebody that's walking this down.
Yep.
So let's just wait and see if we can even get a recapture of the VWAP. I don't know what we're going to get out of this one. The guidance didn't look that great.
Okay, real quick here. I'm actually sorry. I'm a bit slow on this one. We do, in fact, boom, look at this. Fair value gap right here. It is being tested right now. So just kind of looking at this, the other thing about these fair value gaps that I've been looking at recently, they actually behave better when they also coincide with a break of structure. And I would say that perhaps you got that here. So two areas to maybe look at. Let me actually use a trend line to mark this here on the chart. This 153 area, and then also this area here. I would say anywhere above these two lines, probably a pretty decent area to buy this. I don't know. You already got a little bit. I don't know if you're going to get another one. If you're going to take this, the way I would do this on a stock like RXT, I would just tighten my stop up and be more conservative. I'd probably have a stop down here at about 160, maybe 158 beneath this line. The hope here is that we bounce from this area and then challenge the 190, 189 high. We'll see if we end up getting it. This gap, though, in play as we speak. Okay. Were you done with this one? Can I move on here?
Yes, you can.
Fantastic. So we covered some of the smaller movers, and I got news for you. Oh, you know what? We've got one more. Sorry, we've got one more. It's Butterfly Networks. This is ticker BFly. This traded up here in the pre-market. They are moving on earnings. Let's see. The stock closed at about $3 yesterday. It's just about $4 here, so it's up 26%. This was a 2 cent loss versus the 6 cent loss estimate, so that's better than expected. Sales of 31.51 million beat the estimate of 29.5 million, and their guide here. Full year 26 sales 117 to 121. The estimate was 106. So unlike the last one, this is a beat, raise on the guidance. That should actually be pretty good for Butterfly. Quick look at the short interest. 13% of the float shorted with 4.84 days to cover. That's elevated. Float on this one's thick at 191 million, but maybe we're going to have a trade here. Also 13. We got this, and then we got this.
Yeah.
Take it away, boss.
Yeah, we are trading up into an ascending triangle. As long as this VWAP holds up, I think that continues. 420 is the resistance that I have. We don't have any closes above 420, despite printing up there. The float of 191 million, that kind of makes me think that we may end up getting this ascending triangle breakout. But after that, not sure how great it's going to be. That 191 million share float, we've seen a lot of times these floats, they don't end up doing so well as the morning goes on. Volume needs to continue to push those things up. Fortunately, this company has cash. They've got cash. They've got a good amount of it. I don't think they're going to have to do any capital raise. The only thing I'd be watching for with this is just to see if we can hold up that VWAP, and if it starts coming back up, a break over 420. After that, I'm probably going to just say take your gains and say thank you, and we'll move on to the next thing. I don't know how great this is going to be after that breakout.
Okay, really good breakdown there on B-Fly. And folks, I got good news for you. The last two stocks that I wanted to cover off of the movers list, they're real stocks. They're companies of whom you might have, that's the wrong English, dude. You might have these companies' products in your kitchen, maybe even in your office. We'll get to that here in a sec. But first, I have a bone to pick with thinking about it. Thinking about it, I've missed you. I'm glad that you're back here today. The other day, I came up with a t-shirt idea, and I kind of chuckled to myself because I was like, I'm going to turn this into a t-shirt idea, and I'm going to tell Thinking about it, and I'm going to see what he thinks about it. And then when I shared it with the group, I had a couple of other people that thought that because I created this, perhaps I'm partake in some of these things. But thinking about it, this one's for you. Really good stuff. And we have the meme glasses and the meme joint and the stock chart going to the moon. You'll have to let me know what you think about this. Is this something that you would like? Let me know. More ideas coming here for you pretty soon. Back to the stocks here real quick. The next stock on our list, as I mentioned, real company. You might have the products in the kitchen right now. It is D-Nut, which means it is Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. That conference call is ongoing now. We actually looked like this. I know we traded up to 373, but it sure looks like that 375 area is going to be a resistance there. The EPS was a 9-cent. EPS came in at 9 cents. That beat the estimate of 3 cents. Sales were $392.367 million. That beat the estimate of $386 million. So good stuff here. Really good stuff, if you will. For D-Nut here, this stock is trading higher by about 20%. I forgot to check. Quick peek at the short interest, 23.14%, 11.43 days to cover. High short interest on this name. 92 million shares in the float. We've done 1.36 million shares today versus an average of 2.36. I think we're easily going to trade above that. 13. What do you have here on Krispy Kreme D-Nut?
Well, this thing has been down around $3 for some time, or down in this range for some time. So maybe we are finally seeing a turnaround here. I wonder if that partnership with Oreo finally got the stock going here. I'm joking, but it's interesting that we're getting this movement shortly after they had that partnership. What's nice is that we're recapturing the 200-day SMA, and we're trying to do the same to the 50. Now, I think that there's going to be some resistance at $4. If you look at a daily chart, you draw a line of 4, you can see that has been a previous support and resistance area. So I am leaning on that particular level as resistance until we get through it. So looks to me like 4 to 450. That's going to be your supply zone that we have to get through. We do that. I think I don't know that we'll do it today, but if we do manage to do that, 5 also has significant resistance. We've been trying to recapture that level as well a couple of times to no avail.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown here. Tiny Pie, not letting it get by anybody. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're talking about donut, pizza, and Shake Shack? Yeah. You know that this is like a covert food stream. Come on now, Tiny Pie. Y'all know better than that. LOL, though, nonetheless. Okay. The next company that is on the movers list that you might have this product in your kitchen or your office is going to be Celsius. This is ticker CELH. Thing is higher here today. Actually, looks like it ran into some resistance there at 60. Celsius holding shares are trading higher after the company reported Q4 financial results, and they were good because the stock's up 16%. EPS of 26 cents beat the 20 cent estimate. Sales of 721.62 million whooped, and I mean whooped, the estimate of 640 million, almost $100 million more, $81 million more than the estimate. That is monster. surges 10%. It's actually up 16%. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 9.26%. Notably, that's down from some of the more elevated numbers that we had in the past. So those shorts are covering up. That thesis looks like it's dying here. 3.95 days to cover. 13. Here's the chart on Celsius. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time with this one. I'm looking at a monthly now because some things just didn't really stand out to me on a daily. So looking at a monthly, and I think I see something here. So if you look at a monthly chart and you start with the May 2024 high and you draw it through the October 2025 high, there's a bit of a trend line here that we're about to get through.
What was the October 2025? That's right here. But what was the other one? This right up here?
That second one, the one that's up to the right. Yeah. That's the May 1st.
Yeah, we're going to make this precise. There you go.
Yeah. So looks like we have a bit of a downtrend that we're about to snap here. And if we do, then I think that kind of really puts 60 as a big resistance area. We're going to need to see a good amount of volume to get through that, I think. What I also like about this chart is that the price was holding above the 50 and 20-day SMAs for several months, and now we finally are moving up and away from them. So that's a good sign to see. I want to see this trend line break. And if we get that, now I do see that there's some resistance at 67, but after that, 80 is the next area that could provide some resistance. So if we snap that trend line, 67, then 80 would be my upside targets there.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff on Celsius. We'll see how this all trades. Let's do a quick check-in on Rocket. Oh, it deleted my drawing. Oh, no, that's daily. It didn't. Hey, look at that. It's almost as if this fair value gap stuff actually works. Cool. We're up at the VWAP. This is resistance 1. If we break above this, this puts the pre-market highs on deck for us next. All right. We got 5 minutes here. That means it is ticker time. You guys already loaded me up with tickers. We are going to go to Google 13. You know the drill here. I got to step away for just 1 sec, but I'm going to set you up here with the Google chart and where we're at here today. It's basically unchanged. We're still below the 50 and the 20, and we have a 20 crossing through the 50 here today. We did estimate a potential head and shoulders and need more data to tell if that's the case. But Lion, you had brought up Google earlier. I'd love to get your opinion on this 13. Tell me what you think of the chart, and I'll be right back.
So on the weekly chart, we are still holding above the 20-day or 20-week SMA, and I think that's going to be the SMA that we're going to want to keep an eye on. If we start closing underneath that, I think that spells more downside for Google. Looking at a monthly chart, it does look like we are kind of broadening up at this 300 in the 300s, but we are getting support from the 296 area. If you look at a monthly chart, both in December and in February, this has been the low. This area it was 296.12 in December, and it was 296.25 this month. So that 296 area and change is providing the support, and that's another thing I'd be keeping an eye on. So this looks like we're going sideways right now. We do need to cool off. The monthly chart still indicates that we're a little bit extended here, but I do want to see that support continue to hold up. If we do lose that 296 area, there is support still down around 280. That may end up kicking in. So those would be the next. Those would be the support areas that I see from here. This month's candle doesn't look that great. But we haven't broken down yet, so could still end up getting more sideways price action. But like I said, just watch that 20-week SMA. I think that's going to tell us when more downside is coming. Where does he end up going every morning? There he is.
I have to go to the washroom, guys.
Okay.
I have to go to the washroom. I try not to say it because it's like I feel like it's TMI. But if you must know, I step away to go to the washroom. I have to have everything ready by the time the market opens. That's just how I go. Okay. Really good job there. 13. The next stock that I had on here was going to be Micron. We can go to that. That next here. I think we talked about this trend line recently, didn't we? Yeah, I think maybe we drew this on like the last couple of days or so. Nonetheless, we ended up trading through that trend line. It looks like we're sitting on a back test of it here today. We've been supported by the 20 days, so I would say that's your next support down. It's about 15 points away. This should trade with tech today, I would think. I don't think I'm breaking any news there, but should probably trade with tech here today. They don't report earnings until March 18th, so we've got some time. 13, do you see anything new here on the chart for Micron?
I'm looking at the weekly chart, and I think that 440 is a resistance spot. And I think it may end up continuing to be a resistance spot. I think we're still pretty extended here on the weekly with a RSI over 82. What's the monthly at? Monthly's at 89. I still get the sense that we're going to have to cool off some more, and there could be some continued resistance in that 440 area. If we get through the 440 area and we start seeing the weekly closes above it, then I think we continue to climb higher. But right now, this resistance we've been getting for the past 5 weeks at 440, I think that's likely to continue until we've cooled off some more.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown there on Micron. We're less than a minute, so I'm just going to get prepared here for everything, or for the day is what I should say. See if I can get this intraday chart to work here. There we go. There we go.
All right. So we're waiting for several things, waiting to see if Ionic broadens. We're waiting to see if ALBT breaks out. We're waiting to see if rack space can recapture that VWAP. Waiting for a lot of things right now. Looks like there's a lot of red going into the open here with some of the stuff we've been seeing lately.
Yeah, it does. Brian here said NVIDIA looking super weak going into the open. Actually, the market looks like that. The Qs and the SPY look similar.
Yep. 15 seconds. Rocket after hours earnings today. Thanks, Retro. That's a great mention because that's one of the ones we want to keep an eye on.
Actually, here we go. That's a really good mention. Here's what else we have. We also have Dell and Monster tonight and CoreWeave. So
CoreWeave,
we got
open. Yeah, CoreWeave is one that we wanted to watch.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, and we're off.
Market is pulling here.
Out of the gate, not a whole lot with these movers. Redwire had a nice jump going into the open, hit 882. Now it's pulling. Ionic not doing a whole lot at the moment. Rack space went lower. ALBT, ALBT pushing higher. Here we go. Trying to get through that resistance that I was pointing out there. I think it was like what 125. I could.
This was rack space. RXT?
This is ALBT.
ALBT. Excuse me. I beg your pardon.
Yeah,
RXT actually gave that up and came back in. Okay. ALBT, you said?
Yeah, this is trying to push up to that 135 high from the pre-market. Going to need to continue with this volume. We need to see more expansion of this, or else we're not going to be able to do it.
Okay.
You was up plus 2%. I love it.
Is it up even more? I'll tell you what. This was, in fact, 13. You're getting your own dedicated registering because this was such a good idea in a theme that we had talked about quite a bit, and this is working here, and it is running now.
Yeah, that's doing pretty good.
Yeah, that was really, really good stuff. Thinking about it,
and Joby's up too.
I'm having so much fun.
Buffalo by Bicycle. He would be afraid to be a CoreWeave holder into earnings. I understand the concern. I mean, we have had a nice recovery, and I think we're not too far away from where my target is. I think I like 120, even though I think at this stage 110 seems more like the top I'd go with. We'll see. Maybe they report something great on the heels of the NVIDIA earnings. Okay, so Ionic, here we go. We finally got some movement. We're headed towards the top end of the broadening wedge.
Okay.
Meanwhile, ALBT pulling, butterfly ripping as well. 451 now the high.
That's B-Fly. Okay. Oh, B-Fly did break that. That's actually another really good mention there. B-Fly breaking. AEHR is on thinking about its mind. Boy, that thing's $42 now.
PJ Trader mentioning NVAX and thinking about it. AEHR.
Yeah, that's what I've got on screen here.
Oh yeah, that's pulling back. HNST is moving, says Webcoin.
Actually, thinking about it. Check this out. So my fair value gap signal is generated off of a 15-minute chart, despite me viewing it on a 5-minute chart. Check this out. We are in one. if this holds here, you might have a trade on your hand.
BFly has a seller that's stacking up positions every 5 cents from where his previous position is. He's got orders out at 462, 458, 451.
Okay.
It's just kind of putting some barriers in the way of BFly. So we're going to need to see some large volume to get through those.
SPY and Q's still pulling, and Joe is mentioning that NVIDIA is getting eviscerated. You always get bonus points, by the way, for using the word eviscerated because it's awesome. And I would say that Joe, is correct here. We've given up our entire earnings pop from NVIDIA and now minus 2%.
Ionic coming back in, almost got to the trend line. That was a nice move there. BFly also coming back in a little bit. Hey, a BFly ascending triangle. We got it.
Yeah, we did.
So,
we drew that early. That's
and this is the resolution. So now, like I said, I don't know how great this is going to be afterwards. We were waiting for that breakout. We got it. Went up to 455. The float is so large, it concerns me that it's not going to trade too well. But we are still pretty early in the morning. We might still get some pretty decent movement. But like I said, don't know how much longer this is going to last. Looks like ALBT is starting to get a little bit weaker here, but we are still above VWAP for the time being.
Okay.
We are getting a pullback even more from Ionic. We're now beneath. We were beneath VWAP there a moment ago. RXT, RXT is getting support from the 65 EMA.
I can put that up on the screen here. Still watching the SPY. This is still pulling here. And I'm just wondering if this carves out a bottom. There might be a trade there. Here's RXT. Went right through both of those.
Yep. Gosh, there was another one that we were looking at that was wondering if we could. There was one that was getting hammered yesterday that looked like they would be. Is it AI? I think it was AI. We were talking about
AI. It got absolutely fargoed.
But we also talked about how this could be provide a really good bounce too, right? Remember we were talking about that?
I mean,
it was getting absolutely hammered in the after hours, and we're like, this is a big move down. And it's got some huge short interest. I wouldn't be surprised if this bounced, and I think we're getting that here. Look at the price action this morning.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how great the bounce is going to be. It might not go a whole lot higher. Like maybe 9 would be the highest it goes. But
we talked about this setting just new lows, right? This broke like the all-time lows. So maybe you are getting a bounce here. Maybe it's just a dead cat though.
I think so. I think it's just a dead cat. Yeah.
Okay. Trout Bum says he's in DNUT.
All right.
Wow, this actually just went right out of the open there, DNUT. By the way, market's still pulling here, so we do not have a bottom yet. The Dow is going the opposite direction. So Dow higher, SPY and NASDAQ lower. That is almost certainly mostly due to NVIDIA here.
BFly is still going higher.
Look at NVIDIA, 190, okay.
And I don't know if you talked about this, but I think one of the concerns with NVIDIA was we talked about this, their vendor financing.
Yep.
I don't know if we ever got any analysts
so really quick,
throw them a hardball there.
I did not go in depth into the vendor financing. So if that's something that you want to do, I think that's accretive. I did mention at the top what we discussed that led to that discussion about the gross margins and the variance of it only being 50 bips. And really that, probably should have been a little bit more than that. But if you want to dive more into that vendor financing, please do.
Well, I mean, I was just had it explained to me yesterday, so I don't want to be parroting, what we were talking about. But basically, what it comes down to is that NVIDIA is lending money to the people that or the companies that buy their products. So they're making money from them, lending that money out at a percentage, getting that back as they buy more. So that has that was something that was done a lot during the .com era. So you can see how this would be very concerning to investors that remember that time.
Who's trading NVIDIA? And if you are, where do you see the entry here? Is it 188? Is it 185? What are we thinking on NVIDIA? Or is this just a sit on the hands and get out of the way and let it figure out what it wants to do?
You're looking for the bottom in NVIDIA?
Well, I'm just looking for a potential buy spot here. Lion's already short this out of the open, so you're playing the mode of the downside. Lion, let me ask you then, just to kind of flip that around a little bit. Where's the profit target here for NVIDIA? Where would you close that? It sounds like a short-term trade. I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but where would you close that?
Here's a potential bounce spot. I don't know that it's going to reverse, but it could be just a bounce spot on the way further down. But 188 could provide some brief support.
Yep.
The reason I say that is because there's a trend line that we're coming down to. I drew it from the June 2024 high through the November 2024 high, and I just kept it going. And we've pretty much just been kind of trading back and forth over and under this this trend line since we broke over 170 for the first time. You want me to get those dates again?
Here's the June one, June 2024 high, right? Got the starting point. Where was the next one?
November 2024.
November 2024. So right here.
The high. You're going.
Yep, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I've got right there.
And here's where that look at that, dude. And that comes in. So just the way I drew my line, it came in at 187. You'd said 188. I saw 188 on the chart too. Let's call it 187 to 188 as that support area. Okay.
So I anticipate this, some support there. I don't think it's going to be any reversal support. This trend line has been, support and resistance, as indicated by this consolidated price action we've had. So I expect there to be some support, but as soon as we start trading beneath it, I also expect it to be resistance.
Okay. Our support levels are also happen to be right around Lions take profit levels. So I think we're pretty much all in agreement that key level area is going to come into play here.
Good mention. Xwell. This is moving again.
That was the one from yesterday, right?
Yep. And Pretty Panda mentioning that there's lots of different small caps will pop today. Watch for past repeat offenders. So I would, with that information, I would just say let's look at the low floats. That's the first place I would probably go to is the low floats, because if we're anticipating small caps popping, then I think that we're going to want to go with the ones that are likely to move the most, which are going to be the ones with the smallest floats.
A sound plan.
What is the farthest back you do a trend line?
Don't you have like a decade-long trend line on some of these stocks?
Yeah, I could go back years. I still think they're relevant. Patterns they can form over months, years, decades. One of the ones in silver, silver had a very clear cup with handle going on, and we're getting the resolution of the handle. We got the resolution of the handle just recently.
Jay here mentioning TTD, seller exhaustion. That CEO is a smart guy, decent bounce. So Jay, is this finally the time where TTD gives us a bounce trade? Because bro, we have been, I know maybe not you, but the group has been looking at TTD really since it lost 100. And if memory serves, I think we had a bounce spot near 70, a bounce spot near 40. None of them really held. Is this finally the time?
HCTI double bottom from going in from the pre-market going into the regular session. We're bouncing now, coming up to the 65 EMA. Sorry for interrupting.
You're totally fine. You are totally fine. It's actually well timed, thankfully. Truthfully, this being caught by its 200 EMA, by the way.
Yep. Ionic still trying to push up to the top end of the wedge. RXT, this is struggling to recapture the 65 EMA. This looks like we're probably going to end up coming down to the 200 EMA. ALBT, this lost the VWAP, then recaptured it. It's trying to get back into the consolidation area, in the middle of it anyway, from the pre-market. And B-Fly is still flying, 475 now, looking for 5.
ALBT, this is into the fair value gap here. Again, I would do that here with the 15-minute chart just to kind of give yourself a little bit of a longer time frame. The way I would draw this would be right in here. Bang. Sorry, 13. Oh my God. What is going on with Rhino? All right, here we go. This is going to be the gap. So we did break into that. We'll see if it holds.
Did you just call yourself Rhino?
I did. Yeah, that was a nick. My dad used to call me that growing up. We used to call Ryan Sandberg that, called me that. I mean, I've had 2 nicknames throughout the course of my life, 13, Rhino and Tuna. And that's because my dad used to be a swimming coach, and the name of his swim team was Faluna's Tunas. And then when I went to college, they were like, "Oh, that's the best nickname I've ever heard. We're not calling you by your name ever again." And they didn't. They just called me Tuna the whole time. And then The Office was popular during that time, so that was helpful as well. Netflix here being mentioned by Izzy. This now continuing to move higher. Izzy, I'll tell you what. That was a good call yesterday. I know you were trading this one. I think you were out yesterday. Let me know if you took a new trade here today.
Hey, that's so yesterday. Nice recapture of the 20-day SMA. Next task is to do that to the 50 while holding above the 20. And if we got that, we might have a turnaround here. We will see. Open door is moving higher, says Suprik.
Retro says, "Can I call you Charlie then, Ryan?" I mean, I suppose you could call me whatever you wanted. I may not answer, but I don't see anything offensive about that. Do what you need to do. Scalped out of SPY puts, Captain Cloudy. That was a really, really good move. I'm out here waiting for a bounce. I'm still waiting, and you're out here booking gains because you're playing the downside move. Clearly, that was the right play here today. Nice job, Captain Cloudy.
Marionette wants to look at BABA. I think this has a date with its 200-day SMA.
I just had a terrible realization. I have been calling him Marionetta this entire time, and you're correct. It's Marionette. So I apologize formally to you for that. A little bit embarrassed about that, but that's okay.
I think you'll get over it.
I will definitely get over it in about 3 seconds here. Now, Baba, do we think that this may close this gap, trade back up? Let me know.
I think we're going to the 200-day SMA.
And what was the value that you had on that?
145 and 2 cents. I think 145 is the spot.
Okay, we're not far from that here either.
If you look at March 2025, that's also, I mean, just look at the chart. We were coming into a support area. Could this go down to 140? Sure, it could. And then recapture the 200. But I think that we're going to the 200. That should be the first area of support. If we don't get that, 140 is next.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Marionette. I appreciate your candor on the matter. All right, what else do we have here moving around? The NVIDIA short. The NVIDIA short, NVD. Oh, I clicked on NVAX, evidently. That was mentioned earlier. That's actually going higher here. The NVD short, this is actually working now, too. So we actually took out yesterday, or excuse me, the after hours high. More highs here for NVD. Jay mentioning IGV. CoinFox talking about this one earlier, saying we really need to catch a bid here. CoinFox, what do you think? Is this enough for you to say, yeah, you know what, we've caught a bid? Early on here, looks pretty good. On the daily chart, we're actually trading back into this area. I guess you could say we consolidated around. We're still in this kind of this consolidation area that had really strong support. Looks like so far that support held. Let me know, CoinFox, have we caught a bid here? Or better still, have we caught a bid enough for you to trade some of those other names?
We're just getting asked about support levels for EOSE. I think we're at one right now. The 675 area kind of, I mean, I don't know that we necessarily got exactly down there. I think we were about 10 cents away, but that's the 20-month SMA. And if we don't hold up there, I think we're going to 4. You have the 50-day, the 50-month SMA in that area, as you do the 200-week SMA. So I think if this 675 area doesn't hold up, we're going to 4.
Okay. And I'll tell you what, looking at the chart here, that 4 area really does kind of stick out, 13. So I think you might be onto something yet again. Stop me if you've heard that before.
Nah, I like hearing it.
What?
I said, nah, I like hearing it.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. UNH news pop says, Billy.
What was the news? Let's take a look here and see.
Wonder if it's regarding Medicare.
Do you have it? Because I don't want to flip to my news feed if I don't have to.
I don't see it. I just see a bunch of Form 4s and the authorization of a quarterly dividend payment. Not seeing the news. Link the news if you could. That'd be great.
Also, so we were just taking a look at IGV, and I was asking CoinFox, he might not be here anymore. Here's the one thing that I'm noticing looking at this chart again. This is diverging from the Qs. So the NASDAQ still moving to the lows as we speak, actually right at the lows. IGV at the highs.
So software is doing better than hardware.
Correct. That's exactly right.
And then you'll, ALBT, I'm kind of watching that right now. It looks like we're trying to get back into 120.
Is this ALBT?
Yeah. We're still trying to get into that consolidated area, the middle of it, which is 120. It needs more volume, but it looks like we're still trying to, we're still pushing. Big sellers in the way from here to 130, especially at 130.
Hang it in the Louvre. Hang the chart in the Louvre right here. Just hang it in the Louvre. It might get stolen because they have some problems with that, but still, you can try throwing it in there. This fair value gap holding perfectly.
I think I see a bit of a downtrend emerging here. So take the 135 high through the high of the regular session. That's our breakout spot.
That's also your resistance 1 area where if you took the dip buy, you should probably book some gains.
Oh, Lord.
If you're thinking about, what was that from the Shibuzi song that you just said?
No, I just, oh Lord, just because.
That sounded like you were repeating lyrics from the Shibuzi song. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know what that is. But B-Fly is still printing highs for 77. And Ionic still going after that, the top of the wedge that we drew. Oh, hey, what do you know? RXT came down to the 200 to EMA and bounced. What do you know? Yeah, I don't see that news from United Health. It was that ended up getting posted. I don't see anything.
I did not see it.
Yeah.
Part of me, Billy throws out a lot of stuff here, but I don't think he ever responds. Do we have a bot on our hands? Now, I will say this is a helpful bot, not one that's out here spewing a bunch of nonsense. I'm just wondering, Billy, wellness check, bot check. Are you a human being?
Yeah, check the box if you're not a robot. And tell me if these images look like traffic lights.
Traffic lights and school buses are my favorite for that captcha. I'm not going to lie.
All right, looks like we're getting some support in VWAP for Redwire. Ionic still trying to push into 41. Rack space recaptured the 65 EMA. It's working on the VWAP now. Hey, okay, so I was asked by my brother yesterday about this stock. This was a recent merger, a SPAC merger. It was
which stock?
I'm getting to that.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
It's SVIIF was the SPAC. They've merged now, and the ticker that the merged company trades under is NUCL. This is Eagle Nuclear Energy. We had a whole bunch of folks on the nuclear theme, and that peaked in October. I told my brother, this is a SPAC. I wouldn't be getting this now. Let it de-SPAC. Let the redemptions, if there's any, let that all play out. And this will probably be a better buy later on. But wanted to bring this up to some of the folks that were playing these nuclear names. Did you hear about this one? What do you think about it? And would you be a buyer at lower prices? Just, let me know what you think about this one. I'm not interested in this one yet. Maybe it's going to be good later, but SPACs, I still think this needs to de-SPAC some more.
Okay.
How about W levels? Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. We keep pulling here. SPY and the Qs still at lows. Let me check in on IGV to see if that divergence is still going. Indeed, this is actually holding near the highs as NASDAQ continues to print new lows here. And then FTAI getting asked about here in the chat. Here's a look at FTAI. So they had earnings, right? So they were trading lower after the company reported worse than expected earnings. They've gone red to green here. Now, what was the question? Please take a look. Announced earnings in the pre-market. Thanks. Okay, well, so first of all, the red to green move here, great. By the way, ALBT came back up near that trend line and halted to the downside now. Yep. So, boy, oh boy, that bounce was quick there, but it did work. FTAI here, really, this to me is bullish. Now, I don't know what the rest of this longer term chart looks like. I would definitely, now looking at the daily here, I would definitely, with this bounce, I would love for this to set some new highs. I would love to see this set some new highs. I don't know if we're going to get that here. Let me see if there was anything else. Like, did we have any re-rate? I don't see any re-ratings there. They increased their dividend 9 cents. That's actually not terrible.
Joe
5 cents, sorry.
Was asking about pan W levels. So with this one, we did get some support from the 140 level and the 200-day SMA. We've turned around since then, but I'm not really liking the way this chart looks. So I think I'd be keeping a close eye what happens if this comes back up to 160. I get the sense that 160 is going to be a tough level to recapture. So if we start to get resistance from that area, I wouldn't be surprised if we started coming back down to retest the 200 again. Just not liking the way this chart looks. I think there's going to be some, it's going to be a bit of a struggle trying to get back up higher. Let's see what happens at 160.
We got our confirmation. Billy's not a bot. He's just a trading genius here. And he's also, in addition to him trading, he is also throwing out things that he sees here to the group. We appreciate it. Awesome. Awesome stuff, Billy.
Beef fly. This went up to $4.96, just shy of the $5 mark we were looking for. So if that was what your target was, I think we can call that one a good trade. Didn't quite hit 5, but this looks like the spot where you probably want to start maybe thinking about taking profits.
Learn it saying NVIDIA down. Why? Well, the first thing I would say is that I would lean on what Jay was saying here. We needed a rest with some of the high flyers, but more specifically to NVIDIA, might we be at peak earnings 13? How much better can it get? Who doesn't own NVIDIA?
Yeah, that's a good point. By the way, XWell still climbing. I think there's just a lot of concerns around the vendor financing.
Yeah. And I think some of that needs to shake out, right? I mean, this thing's been sideways. Those concerns have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I guess that's relative.
All right, Ionic about to hit the top end of our wedge.
You know, the other things, guys, about these earnings reports is that, especially when it comes to NVIDIA, you know, and the poll showed this. The poll that we took yesterday showed this. The other poll that was done on Ring the Bell also showed this. Everyone expected this to beat numbers, and it did, but perhaps it didn't beat enough. Perhaps it wasn't enough to really bring in that next leg. Now that I'm looking at this, we're basically coming into the trend line you just had me draw. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be shocked if it bounced from this area. This is down here, what, 187? Yeah.
All right. Just waiting to see if, we're going to get our first red candle in Ionic here, almost to the top of that trend line at the top end of the wedge that we had drawn. That should put it about about 41.50, somewhere about there.
Oh, you know what? Sorry, 13. That was on my other chart. I was like, why don't I see it? I knew I drew it here. We talked about it. It was this.
CW Parker, both. And Broadcom.
Reference to what? What was the...
I don't know. He just says NVIDIA or AMD. I say both and throw Broadcom in there as well. Yep. That's what I believe.
And by the way, I know we talked about Anne-Marie and her just amazing call that she gave out here on Tuesday. She also said, watch the exit liquidity today. Be very careful with breakouts. And that is a message that I would like to amplify for the group. I don't know, given what the market is doing here, I don't know that breakout trades are really going to work. So 13, tying that back to the last stock that we just took a look at, B-Fly with the trend line there. Mm-hmm. To me, did I spell it wrong? Sure did.
Or the break, the ascending wedge.
Yeah, and then Ionic was the one that we were just looking at too. So with these breakouts here, the way that I would look at this, the way that I would use this information for trading is that if you have one of these lines, whether it's a previous price level or a trend line or something like that, trusting the breakout might not be the best move on a day like today. And we would really want the market to kind of turn around and shape up, and it is not doing that.
Yes, Jay, I do remember that. I laughed and hit buy.
Which what?
Jay asked me a question. Do you remember when ALB was 60 and it got all the analyst downgrades? Yeah, I laughed and hit buy.
And then when he laughed and hit sell, he did the maniacal Dr. Evil laugh as he just booked tons of gains.
Yeah.
That was actually not bad.
All right, we got
it's actually not bad.
ALBT open, slight gap down. It looks like we're still going to come in towards the 65 EMA. I think there may be some support around the 93 cent area. We're still diving deeper into your fair value zone, right?
Yeah. And this is ALBT. Let me put it up on here. So really quickly, again, just to talk about fair value gaps and how they're traded here. This is we're no longer looking for this for a buy. And the reason is because when we first plunged into the fair value gap and then turned around, that tested the gap. This gap is no longer unmitigated. And remember, one of these rules is that you really only want to focus on unmitigated fair value gaps. The move up to the trend line, the Elijah style rejection or the Mutombo style rejection, and the move back into the fair value gap says, wait for this thing to show something else. So that trade, that plan, that's over. I didn't get a whole lot out of it. It did bounce. Didn't get a whole lot out of it, unfortunately.
Nice job, CW Parker. He got IGV March 6 calls at 70 cents.
Not today, right?
I don't know when he bought it.
This was before.
I don't know if they're
look
March
at this.
70 cents, but great job.
Great job indeed. This is still diverging from the NASDAQ.
You know, it's funny, Buffalo. I think a lot of times some of these analysts don't even read into the details of some of these economic reports. I got some confirmation of that not too long ago, that they're very much headline readers. MBOT and NVAX. So cool.
MBOT, right? That's what
yeah. MBOT. This down 3.5% on what? Don't see any news today. Are you just looking for some levels?
Sorry. I was actually just answering a question here. Andre saying anyone who wants to benefit should get in on NVTS now. That, I'll just repeat what I said. That sounds pumpy to me. So tell us why that's the case. Make your case.
MBOT, I need to see this recapture the 50-week SMA. That's where we're at right now. That's a resistance area. We kind of double bottomed recently from going from November to February. And now we're moving off of that double bottom. I need to see that recapture the 50-week. That's my next spot. And then NVAX. These are some blasts from the past. So they had earnings. Not a whole lot I can draw from the daily chart, except maybe this $12 area here. Now we are coming in to finish filling a gap. We gapped down in October of 2024. Have not been able to recapture all those levels that we lost. Made it several attempts, once in January last year, once in August last year, and now here we are back at that same area trying to fill the gap up to 12, looks like 1231, 1235, somewhere in there. I don't know that we're going to necessarily end up doing that, but this looks like it's trying to turn around. So if we do end up getting that gap filled, we could be on the road to recovery here. I just don't know. Need to see that happen first. It's just, we could end up getting rejected here again today, as we were getting rejected all last year. I don't know if these earnings, I haven't looked at the earnings, so I don't know where this is going to, take the stock. They guided lower, and yet this is going higher. So I don't know where this ends up going, but I can just tell you that that's the thing I'd want to see. Recapture of that. I'm sorry, hold on. Recapture of that 12 area from the gap fill. Two largest holdings are Microsoft and Oracle for IGV.
I'm almost trying to pull up Microsoft here.
Microsoft having a fantastic recovery. don't know if we're going to be seeing under 400 a whole lot more. NVTS linked to NVIDIA. Isn't a lot of companies linked to NVIDIA? How are they linked to NVIDIA? I don't think that I know that we've seen in the past, like SoundHound, for example, they were linked to NVIDIA because NVIDIA had, like, I think, a stake taken in them, and they moved. But I don't know that we were necessarily back into that that type of environment again. We'll see.
I got a dead chart here. Let me see if it's all the charts. Nope. Looks like just the historical candles. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a chart issue as well. It's
Yep.
okay. 800, roughly 800 ETFs hold NVIDIA. Now that's the real problem. I think we have an ETF bubble where if ETFs, this leveraged ETFs of stocks, and then we have ETFs. I mean, there's just too many ETFs. We have more ETFs than we have stocks at this point now. So I think, and there's a great point made when it comes to these leveraged ones. You know, if you have a 2x leveraged ETF that holds, let's say, NVIDIA, and selling occurs, then people go from the 2x bull ETF to the 2x bear ETF, for example. Well, that's a 4x swing. So these ETFs are going to make these more pronounced moves to the up and down side because of the ETFs that they have. So could be dangerous. AVGO, Broadcom, and BITO. Now, BITO, I need these charts to start working again. Come on.
They are.
Okay.
You should be back. Go ahead and change it. You should be fine.
All right. There we go. Yep, that's back. All right. So BITO, you know, I like what they do, but they're futures contracts. If you want to just play Bitcoin, then do IBIT. BITO. This is futures contracts. Now this might actually be coming, putting in a double bottom. It needs to start turning around if that's the case.
I'm still seeing the NASDAQ sell off. The SPY looks like maybe that's getting exhausted, but the NASDAQ's still going. Also, the Dow reversed its initial pop.
Broadcom back down to the 200-day SMA. I think we're now slightly beneath it. Yep.
Someone asked earlier which is going to be a zero first, HIMS or what was the other one? It wasn't app. It was, well, I forgot what the other stock was. HIMS basically traded right up to yesterday's intraday high or near and came back in. Yeah, like I said, guys, that ALBT, probably not anything anymore. TTD, thank you. So what's going to zero first, HIMS or TTD? Let's ask the group. The TTD bounce today has actually been really good. TTD bounce today has been really, really good. I'll tell you what, the break of the pre-market structure here, 2175, that was a launch point here. This kept going. We retraced about 50% of the move. You guys think that we go red-green on this? That might be asking quite a bit. SPY is starting to turn around here. I'm going to wait this out a little bit and see if it confirms it. The regime that I have shown here, at least the 5-minute regime, is still choppy and weak. So I think that this bounce might just be temporary. We'll see.
What's the catalyst that's going to get HIMS, going again? Because they have a substantial amount of short interest.
I don't know. That's a really good question. They've got bad news flow. They've got short interest. I don't know. I don't like it.
Did you mention about Voyager?
You know, I haven't. GB Slice says it's going to zero. That's where it's going. Okay, Voyager. It's been a while since I've taken a look at this one.
Yeah, we finally put a bottom in back in November. Started to recover, but we need to get back above that 50-day SMA. This $30 area also looks like that's a bit of a thick resistance area from all the consolidation we had last year in that area. But I think this may end up trading really well. We've already made the case. This is going to probably end up trading very, very well as soon as we get that Starship test flight 12. So should be seeing that next month.
UMAC, this got destroyed yesterday. It's a drone play. This got destroyed yesterday. It's actually bouncing here today. And Ondas actually so far, having a nice day, up 3%. What happened? Why did you do that?
So Ionic slightly higher high, not quite hitting the trend line, but so close to it. So close.
I'll tell you what, it looks, at least on my chart here, the way I drew my line, it's actually like ramming into that.
Rackspace trying to get back over the 65 EMA. Butterfly is still trying to see if it can get to 5. We still have that same high of 496 from about 20 minutes ago.
Correct. UWMC is a mortgage company. I was mentioning UMAC.
Yes.
Which is Unusual Machines.
UWMC.
That's also on the scanner, by the way.
Really? UWMC?
Mm-hmm.
It's only up 3%.
Oh, shoot. Did I do this again? Trey, did I do it again? I did it again. Trey, I'm sorry, man. Good catch there. 13 earlier. I did the worst thing that I do when it comes to trading here. For whatever reason, my brain just cannot handle CrowdStrike and CRM in the same news drop, and I mix them up all of the time. And I was talking about, and I even made a note to myself this morning to not do that. And then guess what I did? Yep, I did it. So just did the same thing here. Read UMAC and clicked on UWMC. Trey, I'm sorry, man. I'll try and tighten that up here. I'll try and tighten that up. Oh, gosh, bless it.
Ed Edwards mentioning Lone Depot, but Buffalo Bicycle Voyager was recommended from Luke from the Power Hour days on Benzinga.
No,
I don't think
Voyager wasn't even out back then. He's talking about there was the other company, it was the crypto, right? The Voyager crypto thing.
Yeah, because
that was a different ticker, though.
We haven't had that show for a while, and Voyager came out last year in June.
Yep. There were 2 Voyagers, and look, I just made a blunder, so I'm not going to criticize anyone else for making a blunder. But it was a different ticker. Bernhard, missed your buy order by 9 cents. Let me tell you something. You're pretty close. You're pretty close.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, that just reminds me of when I was trying to get those EIX puts during that fire last year, or just before the fire happened. Lion nailed it, though. Hubs filling gap daily chart. Look left.
I can bring HubSpot up here.
HubSpot, yeah.
This is another one, by the way. We were talking about there was a question earlier about software and all of that. This is another one I think really hurt by some of these newer AI tools. But to your point about the gap on the daily chart, you're talking about this one, right? That fills up here at 276. Got another 10 points to fill that gap. Does look like we put in a bottom here, 215, 216-ish.
Gosh, that is just the most horrid looking double top ever. What's the question here with Hubs? I mean, are we thinking this goes lower? I mean, this looks like we could still go lower. We're coming up to this trough from 2022, from between the two between the two double top peaks. That consolidation could provide resistance. This going from about 260 to 330, and it kind of lines up pretty well with the 50-day SMA. So I wouldn't be surprised if we traded up. I'm sorry, that's the 50-week SMA. I wouldn't be surprised if we traded up and tried to get back above 335 and got rejected. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm looking at a weekly chart. But yeah, Yeah, I think we're coming up. We could come up to some resistance. Looking at a daily chart, that 50-day SMA has been pretty tough moving average to consistently stay over.
IGV showing its first several 5-minute candles, red candles, excuse me, on the 5-minute chart. Right? Yeah, there's 2 here. So maybe that pump is done here. NASDAQ still at the lows. SPY took the next leg lower here, actually below 690 on the SPY now.
Just kind of looking around. Looks like we're getting a lot of sideways price action in some of the names we were looking at this morning.
And then Trey here saying, all good, my man. I appreciate you. UWMC will be an interesting long-term hold for their 7% dividend. 13, that's something that you've talked about, is it not? This drops from the acquisition of the servicing company.
Their dividend has been fantastic ever since they, I mean, especially for a SPAC. This was brought special acquisition, and I owned this company for a long time. But that dividend hasn't changed. That dividend has always been the same 10 cents per quarter that they've dished out. It's just that, of course, the yield's going to change as the price fluctuates. The thing that, I was a big holder of this and I don't have it right now, but I would like to pick it back up. Just a little concerned about the number of lawsuits they have right now.
When we did the last trade on the mortgage origination stocks, I chose Rocket over this one just because I felt like I had a better edge with it. That was a profitable trade, though, and frankly, I think they both worked.
I think we're going to probably need to hear some government program for first-time home buyers to really get those mortgage stocks going.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We did get the rate cuts. That was helpful, but I get the sense that we're going to need more than that. And we're still probably going to get some more rate cuts later this year in the second half. All right. What else was I looking at here?
Tesla returning to its lows, so that had an impulse move out of the gate, bounced from 410. Looks like we're actually going to challenge that, maybe even break lower.
You are correct, Pretty Panda. This RXT is recaptured at 65 EMA and its VWAP. We're trying to get through the 15 EMA right now. If we continue this move back up, the next resistance on the way up here is going to be at 165. That's the, I was like, when we opened, we just kind of broke right down beneath that and could not recapture it. So 165, that's the resistance I see coming up here.
S&P still down near the lows. Haven't seen any strong signal that we're going to bounce.
Is Fastly a good buy here?
That was an interesting trade when that had its earnings here. It's higher. It has kept moving here too. 20 is the spot though, isn't it? Let's go back to the daily. Yeah, 20 and then 25, I want to say. Those are your levels there. I don't know if it's going to do that, but those would be the levels there.
Oh, yeah, 20 for sure. When you go to a larger time frame, you can see how 20 has been a big resistance area and somewhat of a support. But every time that we come down underneath 20, it seems like there's a bit of a struggle to try and recapture that. And if we I don't know that I would say 25. I think 24 would be the next spot above 20. We struggle to actually get closes above that as well. And that's kind of the range of this consolidation from when it IPO'd.
Yeah, Jay, I like your comment here because I am similar. Fastly, I like it, but I'd rather have it under 17. And looking at the chart here, really, Jay, it looks like this area here, you want it maybe in the middle of this or the lower end of this, as opposed to chasing this. Remember what we just talked about, breakouts, probably not going to work here today either.
Yeah, 16 looks good to me. 12 would be the most fantastic spot to have this. I think that you get some pretty good support from that level. You have the 200 day SMA beneath it. You're getting all these other moving averages rising up to cross it. That would be the best spot, but we're not there. we're up here at almost 19. Although we are pretty extended, I could see this coming back in a little bit. Maybe we will get our sub 17 prints for entry.
It's time for the register ring.
Why? What happened?
Because NVIDIA not only went to our trend line, but it went right towards the target that we were talking about. We had said anywhere between 185 and 186. Here we are at 186.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Lion, register ring for you. Close that baby up.
Fastly looks like a death bowl. What's a death bowl?
What is a death bowl? Is that a new? Look, I like creative names for some of these chart formations. What is a death bowl?
It's a bowl filled with death.
Well, I mean, I got that much.
Joe asking, how about SPY level? I see 687 as lower resistance. Look out below after that. The interesting thing about that particular area, let me just go to my charts here. 687. Let me see if I have that right. It was actually 689 and 70 cents. That was the October high right before we started having institutions sell. So I think that's that high, that 689 and 70 cents. That's the level I'm keeping an eye on for resistance. And we needed to kind of hold above that. We've since lost it. I think we were above that yesterday. Yeah, we lost that level. And gosh, we are losing all kinds of levels here today.
Yeah, we sure are. 686 now.
So 687.50 was one of the areas that I was, thinking, to myself that we might get some support. Now it's going to be down 685 and 54 cents. That's the next previous all-time high that I have that could provide support. But I still like, if we lose that, I still like the levels of 680 and 676. Those have been the strongest support levels for this year.
And remember, the last time we traded into 680, we bounced 10 points intraday. So as far as that being a really good support area, I would totally agree there. 686 right now.
ALB coming.
ALBT. Yeah, I noticed
coming
that.
back up. Big resistance at 120, which has been the resistance all morning. So
remember what happened the last time we traded up towards this trend line, though? We knifed down into a downside halt.
Right. And I think that could have shaken all those, could have shaken all those stops out. And now we might be able to start moving back up. We're above the VWAP now. Got to beat that trend line. And that would mean a move over 120. So going to need to see some better volume than this, though. Transports ripping?
No, that was, yeah. So yesterday, he's highlighting that it's the inverse of yesterday.
Okay.
We're just doing the opposite. But this is also what we've talked about in terms of the market really being in the washing machine, chop zone, whatever you call it. It's up one day, that same stuff down the next day, make swing trading annoying. The options swing trading doubly annoying.
We are seeing some selling in GE Vernova. And Ryan, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that this is something we were expecting to see here after we got that big green candle on Tuesday. I think I expected this to even come under 800. So and I did trim a little bit here when we got that big move, but I am still holding this. I think we could see sub 800, which might present a good buying opportunity. But I still think this eventually goes higher. I think this is going to be in, a part of the economic growth that we're going to see here this year with the data center buildouts and the need for more energy, electrical energy. This is a stock that's going to convert natural gas into electrical energy. So I expect this to come back in, but I still think it's going to be great in the long run.
Yeah. And I was waiting for 900. So sad trombone. Here's ALBT. We are coming up to that trend line. We shall see. Register ring for Brian on your ES short. Way to go.
I don't want to hear a sad trombone about you missing out on $5.07.
Okay, fair enough. Especially when the buy was 670.
Yeah, you did really well on this one.
Yeah, still in it. I don't have a whole lot of it, but still in it. Okay, NVIDIA. 185. We are in a 185 handle. Alert.
Lots of stuff rolling over now.
Indeed.
So let's see what. Let me look at some of
How am I
the
basically flat?
military names. No, they're coming in too still.
Okay, yeah. IDAI, that's up a little bit. X-rays up a little bit. Goes flat. Interesting. Interesting.
Do you think Avago Broadcom will hit 300? It already has, and I think it'll hit it again. Oh, you mean to the downside? Oh, yeah, I think it could do that. We're losing the 200-day SMA. That's a support area. I believe we're going to 300. It wouldn't surprise me, but I do think that Broadcom is going to be fantastic in the long run.
Yeah, me too. I think the real question here is, do you think that 300 level breaks? Right? Do you think we probe some of these areas lower? By the way, ALBT stopped at that trend line.
Yeah, I could see us going beneath 300. Sure.
Yeah, me too.
Anthropic will be the new BlackRock. That's a pretty big claim there.
TTD at not only at the highs, but it actually looks like it's trying to take another leg higher against this waterfall type market.
Look at TTD here. I haven't looked at this one this morning. So basically we gapped down and then we just filled the gap. That's basically it, right?
Were you asking me? Sorry.
Yeah, asking whoever's listening. That's TTD. We gapped down off of earnings, and now we're just filling the gap.
Yep. And I had asked earlier, do you think we fill this gap? And it, tell you what, looks like it's going to try.
I think it's already filled.
The gap from yesterday, I have it at 25. How did my? Oh, did my?
Oh, you're right. No,
yeah.
I'm looking at the day before. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got it to 25. There was another one I was going to look at here. What is it?
Nope, that's not bad at all, Lion. Not bad at all for an hour long. And Joe, Brian, Lion, all you guys playing short stuff here today, probably having a good one.
I mean, we were doing pretty well to the long side earlier.
Yeah.
What was the gosh? I looked at it earlier, and I want to see what it's been doing. AI, that's the one. Did we get any recovery from that? I mean, we kind of did. It continued to climb a little bit more. Didn't come and fill the gap like TTD, but we saw the whole day. But yeah, it's providing a rebound, a little rebound here, just very slow rebound. Not a pronounced one like TTD.
Brian, you don't have to hide. And I've said this before, and I'm going to reiterate this again, not to make an example of you. Brian says, I try to hide here because you're all lovely bulls, but my strategy is mainly bearish. So we have a number of folks in the happy hour that are the same as you, Brian. And here's the thing. Here's the reality. Nobody likes to talk about this, but this is the facts. Having bearish, what do we call? I don't want to call them slanted. Having people that are mostly bearish helps make you a better bull, because if you are constantly being challenged on what you're seeing and what you're thinking, your theses are going to be stronger in the long run. And Brian, right there, what I would say is, do not hide. Do not hide. I have tried to make this an area or a show or a whatever that you want to call it, stream, where varying opinions are welcomed. That's what the happy hour is. That's what this is. We
need to know that other side.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, if we're just a room full of bowls, we're smelling our own farts. We need the other side. No,
I did not see that one coming, but there we go.
I don't know a better way to put it. I generally think that that's what people who are yes men are all on the same side of the issue. Yep. Is essentially what they're doing. We need that divergence. We need that this disagreement. We need the other side.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Voodoo here saying, I made my money off the market, most of my money trading to the dark side over the years. No shame in bear trading. And I would agree with that.
Dang, Jay, effing awesome. See what I did
I
there?
see what you did there. FN Fabrinet. Yeah. Well, hey, here you go. Here. I'm trying to think of where the other sound effect is that I was looking for, but I don't know.
Yeah, this thing now coming back in, so is a lot of the market. And this thing had gone on a really nice rip. And we also drew a trend line that indicated that we could get some of this action. So do you have that trend line on your daily?
Which one? Sorry.
AI? I'm sorry, Fabrinet.
FN, and it's on the daily, right? It's not an intraday one?
No, it's on the daily. Pretty close to what I got here because we were looking at that as being resistance. This I only have one close above it. Not I think you've got like what a couple closes.
Yeah, it looks like I've got one. Okay. So that first one closed on it. The next one closed above it. Today we haven't closed. We're beneath it. I have one close above it.
Looks like we were getting a bounce there on some of this, some of these names.
All right, 13. Let's wrap. I tell you what, this day went fast. Before we do that here, though, real quick, ALBT. I know this is one of the movers that we had talked about. This actually did give a trade. That trend line, I guess if I were to do this, it'd be a little bit sharper. But that trend line totally held up here. 13. Yep. Do you have any closing words for the group here today?
Hey, even on bearish days, we can still have fun. So if you're a bear, don't hide it. Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm.
But
doing the best I can.
You're doing fine, and so is everybody else. Everybody's doing great today. Let's come back tomorrow. We'll whatever the market gives us, we'll figure it out. We'll make some trades. We'll make some money. It'll be a good time. So until then, folks, have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. I'll be back here to close out the week. Take care. Goodbye.
Yeah, really good stuff, 13. As always, that was for you thinking about it. Take care, 13. We'll see you on Happy Hour, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, that is 13. And folks, I know this is kind of a bearish day here, but remember, that's okay. That's okay. Good stuff here yet again. We'll be back at this again tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see you tomorrow.